Hey guys, welcome to the Wikid podcast number 5. My name is Michael. I'm one of the co-founders of Wikid Publishing, and I'm here with a ton of creators, and we're here just to celebrate the holidays and just have a blast today. So I just want to go ahead and hand it over to the creators and let them introduce themselves. And why don't we start with Brett or Ebi? Either one's fine.
Sorry, I have my mic muted.
That's okay.
Oh, hi everybody. I'm Brett McGowan, and I am the writer / creator of Changeling and Urban Fairy Tale, which to my knowledge is Wikid's first and only young adult title.
This is correct so far, yes.
So far.
But I is young.
Do not say there won't be more. Oh wait, no, it is not the only one. Technically, I think Charger falls under that.
That's interesting. Would you say that's true? Or I guess, yeah. I mean, I think that's true. Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, teenage superhero, and I mean, like superheroes appeal to that sort of audience. Yeah. So
yeah, it's kind of a coming of age story in that way, wasn't it?
Well, Spider-Man definitely was.
Kind of, they take inspiration for a lot of it, but it seems like they do have different. I would say different ways of working with it.
Maybe it's just the costume, but Charger also kind of gave me Invincible vibes.
It's actually heavily inspired by Invincible. The creator Wes, he's a huge fan of Invincible, and it was one of his inspirations. That and Spider-Man. I believe one of the original Spider-Man runs.
The Invincible is, in my opinion, the best recent superhero comic.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, I love Robert Kirkman's writing, but I've never actually picked up Invincible. I'm curious, what is it about Invincible that makes it so unique?
It's hard to put my finger on it exactly. It almost always goes for broke. He you know how all the people talk about shared universes and stuff? He has his own universe in this comic. It's very well fleshed out. The characters do a lot of they're dynamic characters. The art's great, and I don't want to ruin the finale, but it's about as badass as you can get.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Invincible is much more violent than your average superhero comic.
Yeah, though the first, it grew, it developed as it went, because the first run of like the first year or so wasn't quite as violent or as adult themed. It was aimed at a younger audience, and then as the comic progressed, it also expanded its scope.
But yeah, I guess so I sort of have to add an addendum then. Like I have the first young adult title. Charger is kind of now in that same camp. Even though like mine is more urban fantasy, and what Wes has got is more of a superhero story, which is also being drawn by my buddy Joy Torres, who's an awesome guy. But yeah, but as far as where Changeling is concerned, it's a coming of age story about a teenage banshee named Maeve Mackenzie who's just figuring out like how her newly discovered supernatural heritage sort of works with a Christian upbringing, and she still has to go to high school and deal with supernatural threats in her hometown, which is Aberdeen, Washington. And it's also going to be part of a shared universe with my friends Dan Sakaro and Matt Trin, who unfortunately is not with us.
Wait, this is set in Aberdeen, Washington?
Yes, it is.
That's amazing. Yeah, I live in Linden, Washington, but I spent some time in Aberdeen when I was.
Dude, I'm in Tacoma.
Okay. Yeah, I grew up.
The circle is now complete.
That's funny. So you're pretty familiar with the area then in that way.
Yeah. No. You're in Tacoma. I grew up in Tacoma. I spent a bunch of time in Aberdeen. It's let's just say I know why Kurt Cobain killed himself.
That bad, huh?
Well, being a bipolar heroin addict married to Courtney Love doesn't help either.
No, yeah, but that you combine that with
Aberdeen, pretty bad.
You combine that with Aberdeen, and it's just you're done.
Yeah, to be honest, being married to Courtney Love would have killed me.
Right. That's what. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what put him over the edge. Let's be honest here.
Shit happens.
Well, I should say technically Lane Staley killed himself too, and I mean, it wasn't intentional, but I mean, like, if you're taking a speedball, dude, that is, and you've been on drugs for as long as he has.
Yeah, it's a bit much.
Mm.
I'm sort of joking about Aberdeen. Can you tell people a little bit about the town? Because I'm sure that people outside of Washington State don't know much about it.
Aberdeen is it at one point it has a, let me put it this way, Aberdeen has a sign that says logging capital of the world because it used to be that at one point. And the reason why it shows it is because it's isolated. I wanted to get as far from Seattle as I could, because that's what most people think of when they think of Washington. They're thinking of Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
And seriously, there is much more to Washington than just Seattle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they all do.
It kind of shows it just because it's isolated. It's just kind of perfect setting for that fairy tale atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
And so that plays heavily into the actual story then?
Oh yeah. I mean, like, it's it's kind of partially why I also scoped out my colorist Ginger, whom someday we need to get her on one of these at some point.
Yeah, definitely. I would love to have an artist's kind of thing, or even just maybe specifically for comic, you know. But yeah, I think that would be great.
Yeah, I tapped Ginger for this because I needed I needed a colorist who could properly convey sort of the atmosphere I was going for. And I want someone with the atmosphere, like, I mean, Aberdeen sort of looks like it should look like it's mundane, ho hum, whereas then you get into all the fantasy shit, and then it's like all that. If everything just feels like all sort of magical and stuff. It's like,
okay, so it's the contrast you were going for.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, like, that's what. I mean, you gotta have a visual contrast for urban fantasy to work. Like, you gotta sort of have what's distinct between what's ordinary and what's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's all one or the other, then it's just kind of. If it's all one or the other, then it's just like then it ends up becoming ordinary. Like, if it's like you gotta be able to have that contrast. It's very important for atmosphere.
Yeah,
and I can see that kind of like the fantastical or the realistic elements help ground the fantastical elements, while the fantasy elements kind of do the opposite. You know.
Pretty much, it's more like it's kind of more like they complement one another.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nice. Well, that's awesome. I love the art. You know, the colors, like you said, the colors and the line art, they really do go well together. They're just like perfect.
Oh God, yes!
Like
I was lucky that I got Victor and Ginger, because like their styles just complement each other so well.
And their names are so perfect. I mean, Victor and Ginger. That just sounds great. Now, what can you tell us about this Christmas picture here?
This was a pet up I had Victor and Ginger work on for, obviously, what's supposed to be Christmas. That I just haven't bothered. I hoped I would have had it done earlier, but it took a little while longer than I wanted. But Ginger managed to finish it right before Christmas. So
that's awesome.
Nice.
Perfect timing. Yeah, it is. I love the warmth of it. You know, it really has warm colors.
Yeah, you see that? Like I say, that's what. Do you see why I hired her and why I keep her? Like, she's just so good at this. like, I'm not taking anything away from Victor's line art. I mean, like, his line art by itself is good enough. It's got energy, it's got movement, it's got expression. But then you throw in Ginger's coloring, and then the artwork just really, really comes to life.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. I mean, thank you for your introduction. We're glad to have you on the stream today. And why don't we go ahead and introduce Ibai Canales, who's you probably have all been wanting a bit of Ibai in your lives. He's been absent from Twitter, unfortunately, so it's nice to get him on the stream.
Yes, that's one of the main reasons I'm here, because I know I have a huge fan base willing to have some Canales in their life. So yeah, it is high. Ibai Canales, writer and artist behind Decimators, currently being published by Wikid Publishing, and yeah, I'm presently drawing 2 comics at the same time. I talk about them a shitload, but I don't care about doing that again. I'm drawing The Abductables for Michael Derrick, and I'm also drawing Tombstone Blues for Jacob Morris. First of them is, as I like to say, it's the story about what would happen if the gray aliens abducted the wrong motherfucker in the form of a massive muscle-bound human that awakens in the middle of a probing procedure and wreaks havoc on the mothership, runs amok. And the second one is it's got a setting pretty similar to Brett McGowan's Mick Mackenzie series. It's an urban fantasy tale, except it's set on an alternate reality, which is more similar to Warhammer 40k, because it's cyberpunk, but it also have orcs and zombies, and yeah, it's pretty cool. It's both series are a treat to draw, because one of them involves just a massive muscled human. He's naked throughout the whole comic, so it's pretty easy and fun to draw. I go full Simon Beasley on the art. And the second one is, I think I already mentioned this comic sometime, Requiem Vampire Knight. But it's got the same vibe. It's set on a massive gothic metropolis populated by killer robots and mystical creatures and demons and stuff, and both are insanely fun to draw. Maybe one day will be published by Wikid, who knows?
Cool.
Interesting. No, that's awesome. I love the one I'm looking forward to the most is one about the, what'd you call them? Not the necromancer, the
Abductables.
Yeah, it's not the Abductables. The one with the cloak, the hooded figure, the orcs one.
Oh yeah, the Tombstone Blues, Necromancer.
Yeah, Tombstone Blues. Yeah, that one sounds. I love the art style. It looks really interesting.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm going full 90s with this. I'm going through my old Image and Marvel 2099 comics, and ripping off ideas here and there. So yeah, that's the spirit I'm trying to capture.
Well, I mean, Image and Marvel aren't using it anymore. Might as well.
Exactly. Somebody has to use it. I'm just repurposing
it. I love the title, The Abductables. It's a very catchy title.
Yeah, that's all Michael. That's all Michael. I'm just providing the funny pictures. But yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I accepted to draw these stories, because I read the script and I love it. It was insanely fun. It's non-stop violence, 24/7. I'm drawing big guys pummeling gray aliens 24/7, and I'm having a blast.
Yeah. I have a question for you about violence.
It's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's get into
it. In Iron Sights, somebody did the figures, and what it's every 7.2 pages somebody gets shot in the head. Was that?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
they came up with a decimal.
I'm pretty honored that somebody would. Yeah. Now I am honored. I must say I am honored that someone would take the time and the effort to do the math on that. But
I just love that there was a decimal there.
Yeah.
Every 7.2 pages.
So someone gets their head blown off in the middle of the page. Would you say that it happens at the upper side or the lower side of the page? I don't know, but I appreciate that they took the time and effort to do that. I've never been so important to anyone's life before.
Oh man.
I don't know what it is with you guys because I just read that issue of Barrels, and the dude's eyeball falls out in that one too.
Oh man.
But I think it's an instinctive thing for artists. When someone gets their head blown off, you have to, for some reason, have to draw the eyeball just flying through towards the camera. You know.
Well,
I think it's a trope at this point.
Yeah, there's that old saying, "It's all fun and games until somebody loses an eye." That's not true though. Then the game is find the eye.
Nice, I'm keeping that one. I'm stashing that one for further use.
Go for it.
Well, thanks for joining us, Ibai, and we're also joined by a couple other creators from the Wikid crew. I know is Dan. Are you there? Available, Dan, at the moment?
Yes, I am.
Would you like to go ahead and tell a little bit about Adobe Kroger?
Absolutely. First of all, hi everyone. I'm Dan Sacro. I am the writer-creator of Adobe Kroger, Dame Commander. That's a comic series that was recently picked up by the good folks here at Wikid, and is part of a shared universe with Brett McGowan's Changeling and Matt Tritton's Mythics. And it is an urban fantasy story set in a modern-day world where the Charlemagne's court was formed as a counterattack to the forces of chaos, and they were actual holy knights wielding actual holy magic. And Adobe Kroger is a novice acolyte, green trainee paladin descended from that order. And we joined her in the comic series in her very first mission as she attempts to rescue a group of innocents from a vile cult. And the artwork is coming to us from a supremely talented individual named Leandro Panganaban, who lives over in the Philippines, so it's kind of hard to coordinate communication with him. But and it's going to be lettered by Eric Weathers, who also lettered Jawbreakers and a few other projects. And Brett likes to joke that we've got almost everyone that DNC has ever worked with, saving for John Malin, because Brett Smith has agreed to color Adobe Kroger's cover for me when it's complete.
Nice.
So yes, the project is going along really well. Piggybacking on the theme of violence, the first issue promises to be a bloodbath, and the second one even more so, because Adobe does not play around, and she is faced with a situation that requires her to become rather violent. So this should be quite an interesting spectacle. I've seen some previews of Leandro's art, and I can't wait to share it with all of you.
Cool. One of the you said that your artist is from the Philippines, correct?
That's right.
They have a huge comic community over there. How did comics get? Do you know how comic cuts are popular in the Philippines?
I honestly don't know. I would have to bring that up with Leandro himself.
Okay.
I am woefully ignorant in that regard. I'm just really glad that he's as good as he is and as professionally as he is, and that he loves doing it as much as he does. I haven't worked with such an enthusiastic artist in a very long time.
No.
Well, I suggest that we play a game. Who's interested?
Shall we play a game?
I have prepared a few Christmas would you rathers, if you will.
Okay.
Oh, jeez.
If you're interested in participating. So why don't we can do this for points, or we can just do this for fun? Who's
for blood? Yeah.
For blood. Okay, we're doing it for blood. You've heard it, folks. Whoever loses gets killed live on the podcast.
Yo.
This is happening, people.
And our audience is suddenly rising.
Okay. Would you rather have to loudly sing the chorus of a Jingle Bells every time you walk into a room for a week, or would you rather have to wear a Santa suit to school every day for a week?
Santa.
Yeah,
I would go with the Santa too. Yeah.
Oh, did I mention that it's in February? Or no, it's in April.
Still Santa suit.
Oh, perfect for me because it's winter for us.
Is it really?
Yep. So Santa suit all the way.
Oh my god, that's funny. So what do you guys do in December?
We boil.
Oh.
Yeah, because South Africa has this thing where when it's winter up here, it's summer down there.
Yeah,
Southern Hemisphere.
yeah. Australia,
The
same.
seasons are flipped.
New Zealand's also like that too.
Yeah.
I promised myself one day that I would at least once spend the Christmas on a country that's hot, that's warm. You know, because I've never experienced that, and it has to be really cool. I saw it once, I think in Die Hard, when John McClane is on the Nakatomi Plaza, and it's warm on December, which is insane to me, and I want to experience that at least once in my life.
Yeah, I'd want to go to New Zealand because it's warm, but it's not scorching.
Yeah,
So-
New Zealand
Jeremy,
sounds-
I'm gonna tell you, I've got friends who are Kiwis.
Yeah.
They've had years where you can get as much as 90% humidity.
Oh yeah, that's bad. I hate humidity. I lived in Washington D.C. for 7 years. That was
South
bad.
Africa is kind of interesting on that one because it depends on where in the country you are. If you're on the coast, then you're going to look at humidity when it's hot. So, earlier this week we hit. I'm just going to quickly get my converter out here, but we had 90% humidity along with, where is that thing? Temperature. Yeah, there we go. 95 degrees with 90% humidity.
Yeah, that sounds like D.C. in the summers.
It was deadly.
Yeah,
That's Florida, man.
not fun. But yeah. I do want to spend a Christmas in New Zealand once. Yeah, it's humid and off. I'm sure there could be some awfulness to it, but unlike Australia, not everything is trying to kill you there.
Do you know that? Not joking. New Zealand actually has a law that all snakes that enter the country have to be killed on sight.
Works for me.
Works for me.
No,
The reason why is because snakes don't have any predators in there.
Yeah, they would just multiply like crazy. New Zealand was like weirdly isolated, and a lot of things that you wouldn't think could survived just because they didn't have any predators. Like there was that blind flightless bird.
Are we talking about the kiwi?
Yeah, that was it.
That's their national bird.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like that wouldn't have survived anywhere else.
It's also
You're
why they're
saying that
called kiwis, by the way.
The dodo is an offense to nature because it wasn't meant to survive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's in up in Canada. I'm pointing at it. I can point at Canada from my house. In Alberta, they outlawed rats, and did a pretty good extermination campaign. You find them there very occasionally, but like even when you're going to do scientific research on mice or whatever, the permitting process to do that in Alberta is crazy. Yeah, they're like, no, out.
Michigan had a thing too with zebra mussels.
Yeah.
Let's just say they're not native to the lakes, and they somehow managed to get in there.
Yeah, that's a problem.
They clogged up drain pipes and everything. They were a real problem.
What do you do to eradicate zebra mussels?
You introduce their predator.
Okay, I just don't know what that is.
I think it's a couple kinds of birds.
Okay.
I forget which kind. I think. Yeah, but it's a couple of bird species that eat them. So yeah, that at least helped up. That helped.
So you take one invasive species and you're like, what do we do to get rid of this? And you import another couple.
Yeah, it's pretty typical.
Yeah,
Well, like I said,
that's pretty
the
typical.
zebra mussels got in there by accident. Like I think a lot of shipping, a lot of cargo ships go through the Great Lakes. So one of them was probably carrying them and didn't know it.
I do stand up sometimes, And I recently, one of the jokes I did was that I'm so sick of arrogant bodies of water. Seriously, get over yourself, Lake Superior.
I hear that. I saw that on DNC's Facebook page. I really like it. Kudos, guy.
Thanks.
Well, do you guys want to do another Would You Rather? This is a good
Yes.
one.
Go for it.
This one's good. Okay. I'm adding my own little twist on it just for extra spice.
Okay.
So, would you rather have a nose that glows red like Rudolph's every time you have to take a shit, or would you rather have pointy ears like an elf that impale people as you pass them by and they bleed to death?
Oh, that's an easy
I
one.
go with the elf ears.
Impale people.
Elf ears is
Got
good.
it.
I mean, we're playing for blood, so yes, Elfie.
Yeah.
Because you don't want your enemies to know when you're most vulnerable, you know, and then glowing red nose whenever you have to take a shit. It's
Yeah, well, you never know. In this universe, it could be a good thing. Maybe that's a sign of dominance, you know?
No, it's very easy. I mean, come on. You
You
don't want your enemy
Yeah, you
to know, so everybody will walk around you.
can-
Get close to that guy, you die.
Won't you take a shit tonight?
Damn, dude, that
Really
sounds
adds a
too
different-
bad. That sounds like our body has like something going on with it.
I think it would keep them away because you don't want to fight someone that's gonna take a shit.
yeah. I mean, imagine if you had to kill someone who is about to take a shit and he loses control of his sphincters upon death. And
Yeah,
But
that
that's the
mess is on
easiest
you,
guy to
man.
play pranks on.
yeah. That's
Yes.
death is
Just lock the
messy.
toilet up.
That's just depressing. Well, I think that that's good. You all got points for that one. That's definitely, you all chose the right answer for that one.
Oh, good.
No one chose the red nose shits on that one.
That was kind of a gimme, though.
Yeah, that was a throwaway for you guys. Yeah, that was an easy one for sure. Let's see. This one's kind of just a straightforward one. Would you rather get many small presents for Christmas or get one big present for Christmas?
Many small.
This sounds like a question of quality or quantity.
That is kind of interesting, yeah. Like get one big.
I'm gonna go with the big one because I tend to lose a lot of stuff. So, yeah.
I think I'll go with the big one too because I wouldn't know what to do with that much stuff.
I go with the big one because that means less wrapping.
Yeah,
I
but it's for other people. Well, less wrapping to clean up afterwards. You mean?
Let me explain
Yeah.
why. Knowing my family, it'll usually be clothes. So many small ones equals a lot of free clothes, which means I don't have to buy any new stuff throughout the year.
There you go.
I would take the little ones because then you could like re-gift them and stuff.
I'd take the big one as long as it was a Nintendo Switch.
You want to switch for
Yeah.
Smash Brothers?
For all kinds of stuff. It looks like a fun system.
I've been wanting to play Smash Brothers so bad.
What if you had to pose with it with a soy face and post it all over social media?
Well, okay.
Would you rather be a soy boy or
Here's the thing about the soy face. Like the you can do an open mouth pose that doesn't look ridiculous, or it does look ridiculous, but it looks scary. It just depends on what you do with your eyes. I will illustrate.
Want to be?
No, you can go
Do you
full
want to
Vegeta,
be
you know?
an? Do you want to be an
You
S?
can
I'm
go
getting
like
flashbacks
or
of
do you
Metal
want to
Jacket.
be
Show me your wolf face.
far right, like by Canalis?
Hey,
How
watch it. I'm officially a
could be-
violent hooligan.
You could be
Because
a
I'm a
Nazi.
kickboxer.
Be
Nazi?
a Nazi like by Canalis.
There you go. The
Official Nazi of the Wikid.
Well, Spain did like have a fascist dictatorship at one point.
yeah, but he was very much against Dubai's people.
Yeah, that's a funny thing. Whenever someone calls a Basque a Nazi, which you could argue that we are because we are a highly nationalist. But whenever someone accuses us of being a fascist, more like they tend to forget that fascists actually persecuted us until about 40 years ago, something like that. My mom couldn't use her Basque name until she moved out of Spain.
Really?
So there,
Yeah,
there
I
you
heard
go.
that was
Yeah.
a thing.
No, yeah, that was the thing. I mean, Franco tried to unify all Spain, by basically repressing all expressions of, I don't know what for you guys would be the Uber dialect of from Minnesota and stuff like that. Franco wouldn't have any of that. He wanted like this one big, huge, unified Spanish. So he banned all expressions in Basque. And for example, my mom's name is Edurne, which in Basque means Lady of Snow, basically. And she couldn't use the name. She had to go by the Spanish equivalent, which is Maria de las Nieves. Until she moved out of Spain, she moved to Brussels with her family, and she finally was able to use a Basque name. But yeah, that was a thing here.
Wow, that's wild. And the original name sounds really nice.
Yeah, she has to, whenever she goes to America, to the US, she has to tell everyone that her name is Eddie, because no one is able to pronounce Edurne.
Say it one more time.
Edurne.
Edurne.
Edurne, yeah. Lady of Snow. More
that's
like
a very
vaguely.
pretty name, yeah. Well, that's fascinating. Do you find that this kind of stuff plays into your writing at all? These kind of events or things?
There is a what's the word? A continuous pattern, so to speak, of anti-authoritarianism in my writing. It's probably because of that. But not particularly because of fascism, but because of Spain is a highly authoritarian country. We're either a nationalist or international socialist, which is communist, or national socialist, which is Nazi. We don't understand libertarianism, for example.
Wow, that's a whole new world over there, man.
There was recently a law in Spain where they banned you can't get Google News there.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of sites banned here.
Information control.
Yeah,
is that the Spanish government or the EU government?
Spanish.
Or is it basically one and the same?
In this case, it's Spanish government.
It's basically the same. The Spanish government is the European government speech. We've been talking about Brexit, about the Spexit, for much longer than the British have. Now that the British have gotten the Brexit, we're all like, oh, the British are fascist, the far right is on the rise. And Britain, shut up.
They're not. All I gotta say is, are you guys paying attention to what's going down in France?
Oh yeah, I know. You mean with the yellow vests and all that?
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't break out the white flag yet.
Well, I don't know. French they do seem to get some balls when they're having a revolution, at least.
You know what? What's the funniest part is that the left is trying to sell it as a left-wing thing here. As they're fighting the man, they're rising against the oppressive government of Macron, which is he's a globalist. He's
not oppressive. He's not factual.
He's just a state worker.
Yeah,
like Macron. Let me put it this way: Macron and Trudeau are two guys I could put neck and neck for how cucked they are.
But have you ever seen them together in a room?
Oh, dude, there's a video. There's a video by Variety
G20
asking if there's a bromance going between Trudeau and Macron.
I was saying
which one's on top and which one's on bottom.
Did you guys see that thing where you had Macron and Trump together? And Trump,
that was hilarious.
He grabbed his lapel and was like brushing something off of it, and he's like, "Oh, you gotta look good." Oh man.
No, I saw the weird handshake part, which I don't know. Macron wouldn't let go. Yeah.
Isn't there a part of Spain that was actually trying to break off to I think it's Caledonia?
Catalonia, yeah, almost.
They're trying to make their own sovereign country now.
Yeah, what's
that
up
was
with
close enough. That was close enough. I'm trying to remain impartial towards that, because I always remain impartial because I'm boring like that. But I have friends who are separatists. And I don't know, it isn't a bad idea because as a Basque, we Basques have always also wanted to separate from Spain. But the thing is, and this is being promoted by the local SJWs. You know, these guys are rabid left-wing Antifa types, the ones who are pushing for a separation from Spain. So I don't know. I honestly wouldn't want to go anywhere with them. Know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, isn't there's a Basque part of Spain, but isn't there also a Basque part of France?
Oh yeah, yeah. No, Basque Country is right in the middle, right in the border between Spain and France. So yeah, we have like a highly Frenchified part of our country.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what I'm saying is that ideally, the Basques, if there was going to be a separatism, you'd have a unified Basque. You know, you just all of Basque territory would be its own country.
That's one of the problems, that you will have to annex part of Basque country that I think they would rather be French than Basque. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Because France, more or less, you know, with all its ups and downs, it's still a first world country. Not exactly like Spain. Spain is more on the verge of, I'm not going to say a third world country, but, you know, second world country maybe.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's right there.
Still, if people think it's better, it should about to get better in Europe. They should see what South Africa is looking like.
Oh yeah, man.
Let's not go there, please. Let's not go there.
He's like, I'm trying to have a good day.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, considering this is our post-Christmas pre-year spring, we should probably try to keep it a little joke.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
okay, do we have another Would You Rather?
we do.
Yes.
Yes, we do. And this one's fun too. So would you rather be one of Santa's elves and have to be a toy slave, just slaving away over a hot toy oven, or would you rather be one of Santa's reindeer, slaving and being ridden around like a slave and eating reindeer food?
The toy slave.
The toy slave.
Yeah, toy slave.
Toy slave.
Toy slave.
I mean, I
I'll
want to
just
say
play with the toys.
I'd probably be a toy slave, but let me just say the reindeer only have to fly one night a year.
That's true, and
Yeah,
they get
have
to fly.
train. You have to train all year.
I get, but yeah, they're training to fly,
But what do you think the toy slaves are doing all year?
not
They're
fly.
making the toys.
Yeah, they gotta make toys all year.
Yeah.
I'm gonna change my answer to reindeer.
Don't do that, man.
Yeah, I'll probably go with reindeer. I'd rather fly around and train all
Hey,
day.
that sounds fun.
Work over toys.
Just as long as I don't have to have a red nose that tells people when I shit.
Yeah, that's not part
Yeah,
of
that
this.
would be good.
That's not a part of this shared universe.
I think that's a reasonably rare exception. It's an
Okay, so
anomaly
it's not canon.
in reindeer anatomy.
Yeah, I would say carrot. You know, a reindeer get to eat carrots. And, you know, they land on rooftops. I'll go with reindeers. Although, and I will say that the elves, they gotta make PS4s. You know, who wants to make a PS4? You know,
I'm pretty sure the folks out in China don't appreciate making them either.
well, there's that too.
Do I see a Jack Irons being flashed there?
Ooh, is Jack flashing us right now? That's embarrassing.
Center on that.
That looks beautiful. When are they gonna? When are we? People who didn't back the campaign going to be able to order copies?
Well, that is a great question, and I'll probably direct that to Cody to answer that one, I would think.
No clue.
Okay.
No, honestly, folks, that's kind of up to Wikid and us trying to get everything to the backers as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
They're our first priority, and particularly mine. So, I mean, we're super excited to get any more traction. You know, I want this out in the public because people have been asking for months now, and I even closed my Indiegogo store about 2 months early, thinking I was going to be on schedule, and I was not on schedule. So, it should be next month. That's my hope. I don't see anything standing in its way, at least for the digital release. The physical, that's going to be up to Wikid to decide if they want to do pre-orders and then for a period and then print to the pre-orders, or if we're going to do a single run. All that comes down the line later.
Okay.
But yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah, and expect once we know more, we'll let you know for sure. We'll be letting everyone know.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I'll pre-order the minute they're available.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, if I can,
Thank you.
if I can have the floor for a moment, this was something Avid Comics Reader asked in the chat that I think that we should address while still on stream. He asked if we're going to be releasing any of Wicked's comics through Diamond.
So that's a good question. Not at this time. It is something we may be considering for the future, but at this time we're going to be handling our own distribution going for the time being. That's a good question.
We're by and large doing single issues. Have you thought of releasing trades through Diamond?
Trade paperbacks?
Yeah.
Not too much. Again, you know, we like you said, we're a lot of just single issues at the moment. We don't have any trade paperbacks at this time. However, we are also able to with our printer do trade paperbacks. So it is something, you know, again, it is something that is possible, you know, potential down the road.
Could happen, but it's not on the table at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. I would say that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Have you spoken to Diamond at all?
No, I have not spoken to Diamond directly, but I have done research on the costs, benefits, and negative outcomes and various things, you might say. And from what I can tell in my research, it doesn't seem like a good move for us at this time for what we're doing right now.
You know,
just because there is a lot of there's a lot of costs to it, a lot of hardships, and unfortunately, there are a lot of unhappy customers of Diamond. You know, a lot of comic shops aren't happy with. Yeah, go ahead, Cody.
Yeah, I've been watching Alterna struggle with Diamond, and I mean that man, Peter, he tries his damnedest, and he gets bent over a barrel every chance Diamond can get. So I also don't envy trying to jump in on that, especially at the ground level. I believe pretty much all of us are at. It's not the greatest direction currently, but hell, you know, we get through a few arcs, have some few you know, things ready to go. Things might change. Hell, Diamond might go under, and somebody new could come up. It's a heck of an industry right now.
Yeah, there was a guy that Tank and Matt and I talked with on one of our streams, like what was it, like a few weeks ago?
Oh, really? Who was it? Anybody we would be familiar with?
No, it was a guy named Preston. He's releasing a book called what was it called?
Guinevere and the Divinity Factory.
Yes, that was it. That was it. Yeah, and I recommend looking at that stream. The guy had a lot of good ideas when it came to distribution. Definitely a guy worth talking to.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll definitely send us that later. I'd love to take a look.
Yeah. Also, Aaron has a dog on his on camera. Dog
Aaron, actually, I think he maybe did he just turn into a dog? Oh my god!
Wow,
it's magic.
Would you rather be a dog? I guess he would.
It's Christmas magic, man.
Oh, it's a Christmas miracle.
He got his present. He would turn into a dog.
And they said we didn't have diverse creators. I mean, look at this. That's a diverse dog right there.
Marvel doesn't have a dog. Does Marvel have a dog? I don't think so.
Aaron, I gotta know what's his breed.
Black Lab.
Aw.
We have a Dachshund crossed with a Yorkie, so she's a dorky.
My sister has a pug.
A pug?
His name is Pancake.
Well, given the face, you know.
Now, have you guys heard of a puggle? A puggle?
It's like a poodle with a pug?
Yeah.
I had a Shih Tzu crossed with a poodle. It was a shit poo.
Oh. Or a Cocker Spaniel poodle is a cockapoo.
My family once had a Shih Tzu crossed with a Bichon.
Huh. Okay. Bijou?
I forget what it was called. Also had what was it called? Cotton D'Tulier. It's a little dog. It's related. I think it's related to the Shih Tzu, but it's from Madagascar.
Okay.
I love those dogs. They're so. You should look them up. They're so cute.
Yeah, it's called that because when its coat gets really thick, it looks like cotton.
I just want to crossbreed a bulldog with a Shih Tzu for obvious reasons.
Yes.
Bullshit.
Hey, bullshit.
Bullshit.
I got that.
That's funny.
Thank you. Next show is at 11.
My brother though, I think is kind of insane though, because he says he wants a Siberian Husky, and does anyone doesn't take it? Everyone pretty much knows those are high maintenance dogs.
I want you, if now that you're talking about that, I want you to look up. It's called a Pomsky. It is a Pomeranian crossbred with a Husky.
Never
Yes.
heard.
I'm going to give it to you in.
So bad. It's like no.
Oh, my dicks.
It's Papa Oscar Mike Sierra Kilo
adorable.
Yankee.
It's actually pretty cute.
Yeah, they're like little husky puppies.
It's like, is this thing is a small dog, right?
That's as big as it gets.
Aww.
Okay, I could handle having this.
It's basically like having a miniature husky.
Yeah.
What we have is a miniature Doberman crossbred with a Chihuahua.
Oh my god, that sounds awful.
Actually, not. He's a hyper little bastard, but he's actually one of the cutest dogs you'll ever see.
He's just got a lot of behavior issues.
Actually, not. No, he's his biggest problem is when he gets close to the big dogs, he thinks he's like 5 times his own size.
Well,
Little dogs.
it's the Chihuahua in him. He has to compensate.
Dachshunds are also like that. They will. I've seen dachshunds cow much bigger dogs than them, just because the dogs aren't sure what like. These little dogs have such attitude. The bigger dogs just don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say I think it's just compensating, like, you know.
Yeah, it happens the same with human beings too. You know, the little guys are always the ones trying to prove something.
Yeah.
Though apparently in Mexico, do not mess with the Chihuahua because you're not ever messing with just one Chihuahua. Like they are very thick on the ground. They've got a lot of packs, and they're
the hunting packs.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna have to ask Victor. He's Mexican.
They'll chew your face off.
Oh wow, it kind of sounds like the chickens from The Legend of Zelda.
No, I'm just guessing what they would do if they would ever get you on the ground. I mean, let's be honest. It's a very small dog, so it's going to be, I'm thinking like a pack of piranhas.
Yeah.
I think we should let Bruce talk about his comic book.
Oh yeah.
He is the special guest.
Oh dear.
Uh-oh, someone's embarrassed. No, just kidding. No, but please, yeah, it's love to hear some more about it. Please do tell him.
Yeah, Bruce might have zoned out there, or did something else.
He's away for 5 minutes.
Yeah,
he probably turned into a dog. You know.
Oh,
you got to be honest.
You got a nosebleed, so that's bad.
Yeah. Well, he'll be back on soon.
Someone got a little.
I'm pretty.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm pretty curious what the plans are for the rec now that the campaign ended. So I'm hoping he's.
How
back
did it?
soon.
Right.
You got 2,500 of 3,500.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's in a better fundraising environment. I would call it a layup, and we're going to have a better fundraising environment coming up here. For 2 reasons. One, I by the way, people, one of the reasons I'm on here is because I study Indiegogos very closely. There are certain seasons when you do much better fundraising, but then there's also, with the Indiegogos, a lot of the bigger ones haven't delivered yet. So my sense is that once, let's say, Jawbreakers gets out to people, you're going to see just a dam of fundraising for these things just burst. People will be much more likely to spend when the first and most exciting thing that they put money in for gets to them.
I could see that. Yeah. It's kind of surprising.
Well, depending on how long they take. That's my issue.
Yeah.
Right. Why are they not out yet?
And interact.
Yeah, I mean.
Jack started a month after Jawbreakers, and we're still waiting.
Yeah,
Jawbreakers,
you'll have it. My sense is, knock on wood, you'll have it in January. And good.
You mind if I ask you something though? I mean, like, because this is something I'm trying to pick up with a lot of Indiegogos. If you're starting an Indiegogo, like, how much of the book should you have completed at minimum before you launch?
My percentage would be 80%.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think you should have it not, where there's some more work to do, but where it's not a ton. I don't think you should launch with less than 50% of it done ever.
I'm not sure I agree with that, only because it's unfortunate, but it comes down to what I see it as maybe a little bit financial, but it could be other reasons. But for some people, it's better to produce a smaller amount as almost like a proof of concept to kind of get the ball rolling. So yeah. I feel it could be different for different creators, I suppose.
I think
sorry, go ahead, bye.
No, I was going to say, I guess it depends on, for example, but if you can pay the rates for the artist, if you can pay, whatever he's charging for pages and have the whole thing done, yeah, I guess it's a good idea to have the 100% of the comic completed. But if, for example, you can't afford that, maybe, you need the money from the Indiegogo to pay his fees. So yeah. I guess it depends on the creative team and, what deal you guys reach.
One of the reasons that I think you should have we can argue about percentages, but one of the reasons I think you should have a high percentage of it done is because that's an actual selling point to people. When you say that this is 80% or 100% done and can ship, soon after, like people are more likely, especially given a lot of the delays that they've seen, to open up their wallets for that now. And I also think that one of the things that really saved Iron Sights was that you could read the whole first, issue. It was there, and it was 100% done. It shipped when he said it was going to, and I thought it was, it was just I actually tried to get another copy of Iron Sights from Richard recently, just because I wanted to give a copy to my uncle, and he goes, "I'm out, man. Sorry."
Yeah, that's how successful we've been. No, the thing about Richard is that he already had the money due to his Patreon, the super chats, and all that. So he could afford to pay my rates, which admittedly aren't too high because I'm still a beginner. But yeah, that's the thing. If you can afford to pay a professional, you should have the whole thing complete. But if you can't, maybe part of the money of the Indiegogo goes to pay his fees.
It all
depends.
Do you mind if I chime in on this discussion real quick?
Yes, please.
Well, coming from someone who's just had a failed campaign, okay, I say that tongue in cheek, but I did. But I think it also really depends on who you are, how much backing you actually have before you go to Indiegogo. I watched Cody be successful with Jack Irons. But he hustled a lot, right? He did a lot of promo. But then you
was back doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It literally was my life. When I woke up moment. So for like 3 months. So yeah, I really had to bust my ass. But
yeah, but I think know. I think the percent. What I was going to say was. In regards to, I think it was is it Jeremy that was talking there about percentages?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice to meet you, by the way. I think that also depends on who you are. I mean, somebody like Ethan Van Sciver can do an Indiegogo, be hugely successful, and not have any of the book completed when he starts the campaign, right? But somebody small like myself, I can only speak for myself. I've got to have, the rec was completely finished except for the coloring, and that didn't seem to make a difference at all as far as being successful. And I think the main reason that mine wasn't successful is just because I didn't get it in front of enough fresh eyeballs. I didn't get enough exposure before the launch of the campaign, and then consequently all the way through the campaign. So.
Yeah. Are you relaunching it?
Let's not also put it down to the fact that you launched it right in the middle of the holiday season.
Well, I did some research on that, and between Kickstarter, I mainly got most of my information from Kickstarter data because there's not a lot of data out there for Indiegogo. Yeah. But the actual between October and December. Actually not a very bad time to launch. Actually, it's usually the latter part of December, January, and February that seems to be the rough spot for Kickstarter, and not specifically comic books, just any kind of crowdfunding. So I think as more comic books do the Indiegogo or do the Kickstarter, I think you'll get more data for that. But you're right, that could have been part of it. Absolutely. I think it's a new distribution model. And so it's I think we're going to learn a lot from all these different ones. But
yeah, we were just talking a second ago, and we were I think you maybe stepped out for a second, but we were curious about kind of what your plans were and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Is that right, Cody? I think that's what he was asking him about.
Oh yeah, I was really curious what the plan was for the rec at this point.
Okay.
Just because I'm a fan.
Right. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah. No, I do have a plan. I don't know if I'm going to relaunch it through a crowdfunder on. It would be March 1st, 2019. I'm not sure yet because I'm trying to work another deal with like a little small indie publisher. So I'm not sure how that's going to go. But if I do relaunch, I'm going to change it up just a little bit. For one, I'm going to try to get more promotional material prior to the launch, and then what I'm also doing is I'm expanding the book to 32 pages to include pinups and some concept art that has to do with the rec. And then I'm also going to offer a very small goal. Well, I'll just go ahead and say it. What I was going to do was I was going to offer $1,000 goal for a 32-page black and white the rec version, and then a stretch goal of 3,500 for full color interiors. And then the buy-in obviously was going to be a little lower. The buy-in on this one was $7 if you wanted a physical copy. If I relaunch it with this $1,000 goal, black and white, it'll be $5 buy-in. And then if we reach the stretch goal, everybody would get a color version. So
yeah, I honestly think that you had campaigns like Detective Dead, for instance. It did a bad job to start with and then relaunched and just found gangbuster success. I think that if you relaunch in a better fundraising environment, learning, building on what you've learned, I think you'll do very well.
Yeah, that would be the goal for sure, to do better than this one. So,
Jeremy, just going off your opinion, does the timing really matter when it comes to these campaigns?
It matters. I mean, the problem is that the people who were fundraising these last month and a half got hit with a perfect storm of, yes, it does matter, end of the year, especially when people turn toward Christmas, and if the stuff isn't going to deliver, and it wasn't before Christmas, then it just doesn't. They're like, I'll think about it later. That's one, and two, just some of these bigger Indiegogos being delayed has caused a lot of people who would normally just spend a fair amount of money to be more cautious. So once you start getting, I do think if you run it again next year, like next year this time, as long as you get good fulfillment of these bigger Indiegogos, the timing won't matter as much. But the double punch of the bigger Indiegogos not fulfilling and the holidays, yeah, it hurt.
Yeah, I think that there is some merit to say that the holidays hurt. I mean, obviously everybody's penny pinching for gifts and all that. I also think that there were a couple comics. I think let's see, Muttman, the hero one, Hero Blooded Patriot, and I think there's a couple others, including myself, that launched that thought maybe we had kind of clear sailing because none of the bigger personalities were really launching anything. And then I think Mike Miller launched the Meg, the 3 title Indiegogo thing. And those guys are always gonna probably do better just because they have a bigger following. And so, and who knows if those if the people that back those would have backed my book, or the people that are interested in my book would have backed that. Who knows? That's hard to tell. You have to do some sort of exit polling or something. I don't know how you would go about doing that, but yeah, I mean, there's probably a multitude of reasons why a campaign doesn't succeed, and especially around the holidays. So
Yeah.
I think it comes down to genres as well.
Yeah, that
Because
could be.
The greater majority of the books launched by the bigger guys are superhero style books, cape books. And a lot of the books that have failed seem to have been a little bit outside of that wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that could be. I was looking at that on the IndieCron because the creators get to set their own genre, I guess, to describe their book. And I did notice there's a lot of sci-fi books like my own that even if they succeeded, it's not like they succeeded, these huge amounts. And but there was a lot that failed as well. So I mean, that could be it. I mean, I'm just not into doing superhero comics. So if that's the lay of the landscape, I don't know. I might not ever succeed. I don't know.
Another thing that Tank and I noticed was that while Indiegogo campaigns sort of had like a diminishing return on investment, we were seeing a lot more success with Kickstarter.
Somebody did mention that to me on Twitter. Somebody mentioned something about I might consider going to Kickstarter, but yeah, I couldn't speak to that. I have no experience with Kickstarter as a creator. So,
yeah. The one thing about Kickstarter is it has its own organic group of people who are just checking back regularly to see what sort of comic things are available. Whereas with Indiegogo, you have to basically lead everyone there because you just don't have enough people coming by and checking it regularly to these sort of casual shoppers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, this sounds like a good time for Would You Rather.
Okay.
Would you rather be allowed to eat only fruitcakes for the rest of your life, or would you rather be allowed, I don't know why you'd be allowed to do this, to have candy canes for arms forever?
Would they grow back after you eat them?
Yes, if you can eat them and they will grow back every time.
I'm gonna go with candy cane arms because I don't like fruitcake.
Really?
With that caveat, I would go with the candy canes.
Oh, I'm sorry, but I forgot to mention when you eat the fruitcake, you get superpowers.
Oh,
what a bait!
I wish I had said.
I know I'm kind of late to the party, but yeah, I would go with the fruitcakes because I appreciate my arms too much because I use them both to punch people and hurt them grievously to piss them off by doing comic books and reading stuff.
Right. So you would say you punch people more often than you're using it to draw comics. Is that accurate?
I think it's a 50-50 scenario.
50-50. Oh, it's pretty even, yeah.
Got to factor in the shit posting too.
Yes.
Everybody asks how goes issue 2 of Jack.
That's an
well.
question.
I'm hoping by the end of the weekend I'll have some actually pretty cool news about issue 2.
Nice.
I've been getting some stuff in. Finally, I'm gonna say because it's true. But we'll see. So far, it's coming out really cool. I know people are gonna enjoy it. It's just my patience is wearing thin, so I can't.
Out,
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, I don't want to rush him because he does amazing work, and he really does have to adapt my script. So you got to add that extra thought into there. He's not just verbatim doing something. So I'm hoping it goes pretty well. I'm hoping to have another panel preview or two to kind of be shopping around next week and such. But we'll see. It's going well as it can. And
so just. Look for the weekend for new updates. It sounds like then, yeah.
Yeah, we'll have something. Even if I don't have any more art previews, which I would love to have, I think me and hopefully with Wikid will have something about digital by Sunday to tell folks.
Sweet.
So that should kind of help for now. But yeah, issue 2, it's in progress. I'm stoked to see the progress. I think it's absolutely amazing.
Isn't
I'm really
it great?
hoping. Yeah,
Isn't it
yeah,
great?
whatever it is, it's great.
No, I mean, well, no, I'm just to see pages. You write them, and to see the pages as they come in. Isn't that
Yeah,
the
no
greatest
question.
experience?
It's one of many with comic creating that keeps
I
me here,
agree.
no matter how toxic things are. It's just seeing not. I mean, there's so many steps in it. It's you got your work to the artist gets it back to you, and it's more than you would have imagined because it was filtered through somebody else's amazing imagination. And then you put that, and then in my case, then it goes to a colorist, and then it brings that, and then it's a whole new imagination thrown in there, and it's something even more than it was. And then it gets to the public, and then suddenly it's some hell of a thing, much different than what it started in terms of, instead of an idea in your head, it's now this active thing that has interactions and growth outside of your mind. It's a hell of a thing. I love it.
Wow. That's so true. It is interesting how it's this collaborative effort. It really brings a lot to the table from each different person working on it.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Well, no, I mean, look, getting pages back as you get in pages over and over again. It's like Christmas morning every time. It's great.
Oh, absolutely.
That's why I try to send a daily page to my writers.
Yeah.
Try and get the motivation going.
Yep, 1 per day.
That's tough, man. That's a tough schedule.
I got nothing better to do. No, it beats a 9-to-5 job, so I'm not gonna complain.
So, are you able to? So do you not have a 9-to-5 job at this time then?
Oh no, I have a job in the afternoons. I go.
Oh, okay.
I teach kickboxing at the gym. That's why I said I'm a violent hooligan according to the press.
Oh yeah. I didn't realize you were a kickboxer instructor. I did not know that.
Yeah, but I am. Like my father and my father before me.
Wow. Just like it's like a Rocky story, man. Your own Rocky story.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm the only guy I know that has those 2 separate jobs. I can't think of anyone else. Everyone drawing comics here, it's extremely nerdy. They're not the physical type. I think I'm the only one who works out and fights and stuff.
I can see it.
Though Richard stays pretty fit.
Yeah, he goes to Planet Fitness.
Yeah. Hey, it's right in the name.
Not gonna judge.
Oh, that's funny, man. Well, I think now is a good time to maybe make one of our first surprise announcements. Ooh.
Is this something we were not? Was this something you were keeping secret from us, Michael?
Maybe. A little Christmas Santa miracle surprise. So, I would like to ask if who would if you would like to go first, just go ahead and start talking.
Okay. So since we're doing the Christmas thing here, I've been working on a comic book called Movie Men with artist Doug Curtis, and it's essentially done. I think we've got 4 pages to add, but we're gonna bring it out with Wikid this next year. We'll do a crowdfunder for it, and then it'll be available in perpetuity, hopefully, via Wikid after that. And it'll just start off as a one shot, and we'll see where it goes from there. And it's Bellingham, Washington's only super team. And what it is
Bellingham.
Yeah, Bellingham. It was inspired by the uniforms of the workers at Regal Cinemas. I looked at them and I said, those look kind of like X-Men uniforms, and just things in my head just started churning. And I was like, what if the theater workers were superheroes? And I thought, what would have to happen to make that true? So I will only spoil the first few pages of this comic. One of the theater workers is doing a routine check, and he finds a bomb, but it's more than a bomb.
Ooh.
You know, I'll at least give you kudos, Jeremy, for now being a scrub and putting it in Seattle.
Oh yeah, I do. Unfortunately, there's a few other comics I'm working on that are set in Seattle, but you know, this one I had to set in Bellingham.
Is this gonna be the Seattle universe of comics?
The can I ask you, shared universe people, a question?
Sure.
And I don't mean this as a, I mean, like, this is an actual question. Why? What is it about a shared universe that appealed to you?
We just it was kind of more of a happy coincidence in me, Dan, and Matt's case, just because we found we had 3 books that could easily be fitted together, and well, it's also just because people like that stuff. They kind of like the idea that that books sort of share the same space. I mean, like, there's a reason why Marvel and DC have stuck around so much, because these don't just feel like these. I mean, like, but they feel these feel like real places.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm also doing one. It's called the Ironsverse. It did start. I built Jack Irons from the ground up to be a shared universe. That's how it is. It doesn't come off that way, which is good. I don't want it to. I want you to pick the character you like and enjoy this universe from their perspective. But they do come together later if I get that far. Okay. But the point is that I had a massive thing in my head that has so many facets that one character or story doesn't give it the justice I want to give it. Yeah. And so I've been able to integrate at least one other artist into Ironverse Comics, and with Cactus Coyote we have a shared universe going, and it's a trip. It's a lot of fun.
Okay,
I think that's why I enjoy it, because of that. The depth can't really be done as easily unless I'm writing novels and a huge series or something. It becomes really difficult to explore as much as I want.
Okay, so you like shared universes for world building reasons.
Yeah.
Okay.
Me personally.
Yeah, and I think that there are some people that do that. That's their thing, and that's great. But I think that and I don't know what the percentages are, but I'm gonna guess it's a majority of the people. The reason they like shared universes is because they like crossovers. But the thing is, you have a lot of these like licensed properties where you can have crossovers without shared universes, right? And so I don't know. I think it'd be interesting if you had a comic company that did crossovers but didn't do a shared universe. I've never seen it done, but it might be an interesting experiment.
I don't know. Like, I've seen. I don't know. I've seen books like what's the one I'm thinking of? Image was. I think Top Cat was doing that like all the time. I think, and like I also remember like Hack Slash has had crossovers with books like Vampirella and Evil Dead. It's just like, but it's just more like.
I think the king of unlikely crossovers was Evil Dead, Ash versus Evil Dead, because they did the whole the Necronomicon takes you to an alternate universe thing all the time, you know.
Yeah.
But I think it was a wise thing to do, because they kept it separate and together at the same time. Because with the Necronomicon you had the excuse.
Oh yeah, they even had Ash like fight in the Marvel Zombie universe at one point.
Yeah. I just want to say, Matt and I actually had we've actually kind of joked around and talked about a comic crossover, which would just be like a Wikid crossover with like all the characters just be like randomly meeting and stuff. It would be really funny.
I'm not sure. You were talking about you're not sure a company that's doing it without shared universe. I don't think Punchline and Rags share universe, along with Black Hops, and they are doing that crossover. So that might be one of the first steps of somebody doing that.
I think Brian's
I don't believe they share.
Crossover is like an alternate take on Rags.
Yeah.
I know
you'd have to get back to him for confirmation.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I know even Shonen Jump has done the same thing with like I think it was Dragon Ball, One Piece, and then some cooking anime.
Toriko. That was it.
Yeah, I think that's it. And they've done one or two of those already, and they've already talked about doing more. And that brought into question other companies thinking about doing the same.
Yeah. The biggest problem though with crossovers is that you've had like Marvel and DC that have just made it become so mundane. Like they break out a new epic crossover event like every year.
Yeah, but I mean,
it just doesn't feel.
And one of the reasons that I think shared universe is going to be a problem is it makes those the mundane crossovers so much easier, and waters them down. And I actually, by the way, the shared universe that Brett and company are talking about, I don't think it'd be like this at all. I'm not talking about that. But you want to know what I think was the most bizarre crossover in the history of crossovers? It was Archie meets Punisher, and it was great.
Yeah, I know.
Archie goes some weird places, yeah.
I think Archie and Punisher together would work, but it does. But then again, like they also did Batman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That was good too.
Yeah.
Some epic crossovers throughout history for sure. But that is interesting, you know.
Well, there was also a Batman Shadow crossover. Actually, there's been 2 Batman Shadow crossovers. Those were the first one. Denny O'Neil was actually really good.
Which is kind of funny because Batman was basically ripping off the Shadow to start with. So,
yeah, that was kind of the idea. Like it's like when Denny O'Neil's crossover was sort of like he actually kind of acknowledged it. Like he had Batman sort of say to the Shadow, "You were an inspiration to me."
Mm-hmm.
It's like wink, wink. Yeah. Now, as far as like what Dan, Matt, and I have dubbed the Mythoverse is concerned, like crossovers could happen, but Dan, is it fair to say that our characters would more or less keep to their own sandboxes for the most part? Dan,
sorry, what was that?
Oh, hold on. Was that question for me? Sorry, I have a baby here. To answer your question, for one thing, the reason I think shared universes are cool is it's much more narratively satisfying to see these little things that are set up in one story all pay off in a larger one. I mean, that's what made the MCU so appealing, for one thing. And we are basically keeping to our own sandboxes for the most part, with some small references here and there. It's not going to be like, hey, look, it's Maeve over there in the corner in the Adobe book. You know, it's going to be like something happens in Adobe that's important in Changeling, that's important in Mythics, and vice versa.
It does seem to be really important for shared universes. I mean, we see a lot of examples of movie universes that are trying to get into that, and you see like the Universal Monsters trying to reboot, and they do the same thing that DC messed up on, which is try and throw too much at you all at once. And then those crossovers, they don't feel like they've been deserved, they haven't been earned, and they're not really that satisfying because you don't have that backstory, you don't have that real, the stories that you can attach to.
For all its faults, the MCU is a model for how to do this kind of thing successfully.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would 100% agree.
Didn't they basically create that style in a sense for a more modern?
Kind of maybe the more modern one, but there were shared universes before. I mean, even Universal Monsters back in the day when they're first movies, they were all shared.
That's why I said more for modern time.
Right, exactly. I think you're right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ibai, what you're saying the trick was?
No, I was going to say that I think the trick is to do it, gradually and subtly, because the first Iron Man movie, which is the first MCU universe, you have these little bits of these little nods to the rest of the universe. They mentioned the Blackbird, the X-Men's Blackbird, when Tony's trying to fly for the first time. They show the Captain American, Cap's shield and stuff like that. And I think that builds up to the big revelation of it being a shared universe, which doesn't work if you do it from the get-go, like they tried to do with Suicide Squad. I think, for example, Suicide Squad is the worst example of how to build a shared universe, because you have this apocalyptic battle at the end of the movie, and I, for one, couldn't stop wondering, where the hell is Batman? Where the hell is Wonder Woman? And they're in the same universe. Why aren't they here trying to save the city?
That's a good question.
I know Superman's not around, but Batman, Wonder Woman, and Flash are. So why the hell aren't they here?
Yeah, it's a bit of an oversight, isn't it?
So yeah, I think if you do it sadly, you will get the readers excited for it. You will get them wondering, and wow, are they the same universe? I think that's the trick. That's what really works.
You gotta make them want it. You gotta do it in the right way to make them come to you, not force it down on them.
You gotta make them beg for it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Real quick, people. Just wanted to let everybody know Dan kind of getting ready to leave. I believe he has something come up, and Aaron's app crashed, and he will not be coming back for the rest of the.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Now.
But thanks for having me on, guys. It was a lot of fun speaking with everyone, and I hope to do it again real soon.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone be on the lookout for Adobe Kroger. It's going to be coming soon. And we wish you all luck and have a great New Year's.
Absolutely. Same to everyone here and everyone that's watching. Have a good one.
Thanks.
Take care, Dan.
Take care, man.
See you, man.
Bye, Dan.
Well, let's see. What were we talking about? Yes, sure. So we were talking about Movie Men as well, and I do just want to say that we're really excited to welcome Movie Men to our lineup and have you on the team.
They are happy to be here.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear. You were kind of talking about the kind of the comic. Now, what kind of genres are they? Would you say?
I mean, I kind of view them as, you know, the thing I would like them most to is the Ghostbusters. You know, because they're a bunch of working stiffs. They're working a movie theater, and they're gonna try to go deal with all kinds of threats that they didn't expect.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah. So, what are the plans for that going forward? When can people expect to see it coming soon?
Yeah, we've got to. We'll figure out. We need to talk about what when we're going to launch the Indiegogo. My guess is that would be February sometime, but March at the latest. And then you know it'd be 100% done by the time we launch it. So not long after the Indiegogo is finished, the backers would get it, and then everyone else would be able to order it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, that's exciting. We love the art, and the story was really fun and exciting, and it was quite funny, I have to say. There were a lot of good humorous moments.
I had a blast writing it. It was a lot of fun.
Did you really? In the story, we obviously can't give too much away here for people, but the story really seems like it can go in a lot of different directions.
Oh, absolutely. And if people respond well to the Movie Men, they're going to be around for a while. So, look for those in February or March.
Nice, man. That's awesome. Now that we're on the topic of special announcements, I suppose we can jump in and maybe give out our next special announcement. And why don't you go ahead and take it away, Hangar 51?
Most of the people know me over on Twitter as Tank, shitposter, and guy who spams a lot of Warhammer 40k memes. I am the writer and creator of the. Yeah, I am the writer and creator of the semi-grimdark science fantasy novella series called Dreams of Peace and Acts of War, and I am in the process of signing the novella series to Wikid Publishing.
Yay! Our first, which would be our first novel published.
Cool.
Yeah, very exciting.
Yeah.
And we're really excited to have you on the team. The story is really interesting. It's a sci-fi story. It takes place in the future. And what can you tell us about the detail? What can you tell us about the setting, the characters, and what we can expect from it?
The story starts and takes place in 2977. It follows a group of mercenaries as they navigate the intricacies and ins and outs of various systems and their varying politics. And they uncover a few disturbing things that if allowed to escalate could lead to a galactic war. The story not just follows that, but it also follows their own internal struggles with their pasts and the lives as immortals, because in the story there are groups of people called either ethers or breakers. Ethers are magic users and breakers are people that are able to nullify the magic. This happened in a event that culminated in a alternate universe opening up to us, but upon exploration of this realm, it was found to be completely dead and barren. There's no alien life. So pretty much everything that happens is humanity just falling back on their base nature of fighting against things that are unknown. Now, it's not pretty much X-Men levels of everybody's hated and bastardized, but there are laws and things in this universe that pretty much see immortals as second-class citizens. The story itself follows the mercenary group, as I already stated, called the War Gods, consisting of Commander Gunnar Stone, the second in command, Lucia Vale, Amber Blackburn, Angel Nakamura, Evelyn Shade, and Anastasia Zaitsev, each one from a different planet, styled on our own continents, with a few variances here and there, and with their own customs, cultures, and languages. Now, most of the questions that will probably be leveled is, why does everybody speak English? That is accomplished by a universal translator that everybody uses. So while they technically speak their own language, so people from planet Amaterasu, which is the analog for Japan, they speak a language called Tenjin. They would be speaking that, but then it would be translated to, say, the people who from Volga speak Volga, but they would, for all intents and purposes, it would appear like they're speaking English, and that is circumvented. Technology in this universe has stopped developing due to a law that pretty much all planets signed around 200 years ago in 2700. And that has ceased all technological development. So while the technology is highly advanced to our own standards, it's pretty much ancient technology by the time the story takes place.
Now, something I love about this, your world, is the idea that there's all these different planets that the different countries of our world have developed, and then kind of other offshoots of the culture. So while they're similar, there are differences, you know. And I think it's like you said, the different language that they speak on that planet in the Japan analog, Amaterasu. I thought that was quite interesting, kind of take on what a future may look like.
In terms of how the cultures and everything developed, it also affects what the technology and everything looks like. So for the Great Britain analog, Planet New Britannia, their technology is a mix of highly advanced technology, but it also looks like medieval England. For this, I took inspiration from an anime called, I don't know if everybody's watched Trinity Blood, the country of Albion. That whole mix of the mix of medieval with high technology. And then for Planet Amaterasu, we are looking more at a Edo period Japan mixed with high tech, but the people themselves, they wear traditional garments. So if you were to visualize the planet, you would have this highly advanced technology, but people would still be walking around with wooden sandals and kimonos and things like that.
It reminds me of Gintama, actually, because it's an anime where like aliens invade Japan during the Edo period.
Yeah, I was going to say that there's a whole subgenre of anime and manga that is like steampunk samurai.
Yeah, I was going to say it sounds a little steampunk.
That's the one planet. So, but then if you move towards the more technologically advanced planets in terms of what they look like, planets Liberty, Blood River, or Volga, you would get closer to science fiction that people from our time would actually properly envision. Visually, I would say my avatar, if you would look at that is concept art I did for had done. That is a early concept for L5 Guardian armor, commonly used by Blood River and Liberty. So that's a very blunt, mechanistic way of looking at it, but still refined in a way. If you go to Planet Volga, their style is it works first, and if they have time to make it look good afterwards, that then so be it. But otherwise, it'll have a very rough, mechanistic look, very exposed, kind of mechanical look, and things like that.
Yeah, I love that difference. Like you said, some of the planets, they have that steampunk vibe, but then others have more straight sci-fi, and others they're all different. So that really is going to allow for a lot of variety and kind of world building, and just a lot of interesting things to read about, I think.
The first volume's not going to focus too much on the worlds. They briefly in the various, because they're written as a collection of short stories, so it's like vignettes. So Volume 1 will take place on a forested planet, planet New Dawn, which is a small, kicks off everything. The look of that planet will be, the way it's described, is lush forests, snow, very small colony, around 1,500 people with a important space port. It's a fairly recent colonization effort in terms of the story, probably less than 50 to 100 years. But it's close enough to the tear in reality called the Tears of Mara, which is located in the Borealis system. So that whole thing there it's close enough so that you could launch raids into it or exploration into it, but far enough away so that it's not too close, but of interest, so that one of the other planets, Ryan, which is these guys are styled on World War II Germany. I just took what I could see as, but they're not Nazis.
Are we talking more Pickelhaben and less SS?
I'm not sure.
Think the professionalism and the highly advanced technology that the Wehrmacht used during the Second World War, because their soldiers were very professional in terms of how they conducted warfare, but less rape and pillage your planet kind of guys. If they go in and if they are going to do anything, it's pretty much going to be for conquest and to liberate a people, because their main general, as it were,
more like Bush era America.
the main general, Wilhelm Himmler, he is, for all intents and purposes, the oldest character in the story. He was alive pre-Stellar Cascade, the event that caused this tear to appear into our reality. He was around 45 years of age before this, and by the time the story takes place, it's 600 years after this event. So he is over 600 years old by the time the story takes place. He's a pyre, which is a fire mage analog in the story. Exceedingly powerful, cold, calculating. If I had to give him a description of how I'm trying to write him, if anybody's watched Babylon 5, I'm pretty much trying to style him on Bester, the villain from the kind of guy that believes he is in the right. He believes to his very bones that his method of doing things is the way to go. And he has his adjutant called Mika Kunz, who is a breaker, but there's a little bit more behind the scenes. I'm not going to reveal too much on what's going on there.
Now, what can you tell us about when we can look forward to seeing this coming, getting released?
Sometime 2019. There's still a little bit of logistical things that I need to sort out in terms of getting a cover done, getting a logo done. As for the writing, it's done. The main manuscript's done. It's already gone through draft revisions. What has to happen now is it needs to be converted for a foreign audience to find a little bit more palatable in terms of reading. South African literature, for the most part, is written present tense. So from what I have heard from a few folks that have read it already, it's a bit jarring because of how it's written. So I have somebody assisting on getting that sorted out, and then what I'm also doing right now along with that is just expanding a little bit on the descriptions and things, cleaning up dialogue, just adding techniques and things I've learned in writing as I was writing the first 6 short stories that make up the first volume of the novella series.
That's really cool.
So this is going to be 6. So 6, what would have been novellas, just released as one combined edition.
No, it's 6 short stories that combined make up a single novella.
Okay.
They, in and of themselves, they could be a full-fledged short story with a start, middle, and end. But if you go on to, say, you start at Landfall on New Dawn and you go on to the second one, which is called The Siege of New Britannia, you actually have a story that from the one to the other. So even if it were to end at that, you would have a full-fledged story, but it's left open-ended enough so that you could actually go on, and canonically it carries on based on timelines and everything like that.
Okay. I'm going to read this.
Sounds good, man. Very, the kind of franchise you can create a tabletop game from. So I always like that.
Yeah, that's the other side to it. We're at the concept when I started drawing this whole universe around 10 years ago. I took everything that I hated about a lot of writing, about here's a story, they establish a rule or a method of something happening in the story, and then 2 or 3 episodes later, they completely change it up and they just ignore the rule they just established.
Yeah.
Everything that happens has a rule or a backing piece of law that states this is how it happens, that's how it goes. So how people become immortal in the story is usually when they are grievously wounded. The process is called rebirth. Now, they're not dead, but they are reborn, as it were. And it happens when they die and there's a large amount of ether energy around them, which is now pretty much all over in our universe from this Terran reality. If there's a high enough concentration and if there is, how should we put this, available space, because there can only be 1,000 immortals around at any one point in time, then you become one of these immortals. Now, but there's a secondary rule to this. If, say, a group of breakers decide that they're going to go on a rampage and start eliminating ethers, there will be a sudden surge in ethers being reborn to balance the numbers back out, so that the balance is maintained.
Wow. That's some mighty world building right there, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's interesting. It's a interesting combination of science and science fiction and fantasy.
Yeah.
A really good combo that I think, like you said, it kind of harkens to 40K a little bit, kind of with those kind of combining
main
elements.
Influences on the writing is Warhammer 40,000, Halo, Mass Effect. A lot of the technology and how that works is I've taken some inspiration from BattleTech, especially how long-range communications is handled, and even the version of the internet, as it were, is based on how the hyperpulse generator networks from BattleTech, how that is handled.
BattleTech is a classic, right?
It's a very, very hard sci-fi universe with all these things very nicely explained, and I love it for that. And 40K for the more esoteric elements and how they blend that with high technology.
Nice. Well, that's awesome, man. We're really excited to have you on the team, and I can't wait to see what come out with what you come out with it. Now, is a planned a trilogy? Is that right? Is that kind of the idea?
There will be 3 volumes, yes. So the first one, Volume 1, Embers, like I said, is I'm planning on releasing around 2019, and if everything goes according to plan, I am hoping to get Volume 2 Revelations out in 2020.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, man, that's good work. You know, I've been working on a novel, and man, it's a lot. You know, it's got to put a lot into it. You know.
I do not think I could sit down to write a novel. It's just I mean, it's not exactly a one-to-one comparison, but it's like that's kind of the same problem I have with reading novels. It's just not saying anything bad about them. I am going to fully admit this is strictly a me problem.
No, I get it, man. I get it too, because I love to read and I love to write, but I also have that problem.
Yeah, they do not, for whatever reason, my brain's just not oriented towards that. It's just like I need to have visuals. I need to have something stimulating my eyes.
It's tough. It really is.
Which is an odd thing for me to say, considering I've got really bad vision.
Well, I'm hoping that hopefully, maybe, just maybe, should a certain place in the world manage to might hopefully look at a movie deal someday.
Right?
Okay.
Hey, man,
that is the dream.
Yeah, definitely. Dude, I would love to see a movie with your work, man. It is pretty primed for an epic sci-fi adventure, you know.
I think the way to go is to hope for a sci-fi, no, for a Netflix adaptation.
Right.
Like,
yeah, because they get the
like
big
Altered Carbon or something like that. They can totally see it being made into an Altered Carbon type of TV
man.
show.
Well, they wouldn't even have to push the gender politics, because I've got a couple of characters ready to go that'll fit their bills entirely.
Nice.
The majority of the main cast are strong female protagonists, so they don't really even have to change the script up that much.
And you're doing you've got a few concept pieces you've got, is that right?
Well, the idea behind the art pieces are so for a physical release, so the arts, once it's all done and ready to go, actually to have them in the physical copy.
Wow, okay, that's awesome.
Interspersed throughout the various pages and volume parts of the book.
Is this going to be like what they used to do with pulp novels, where they had like a few illustrations dispersed throughout the book?
That is the feel that I'm hoping to get. Yes.
Cool.
I love that, because the one I'm working on is a light novel, and they do the same thing, you know, with illustration throughout. And I hadn't really thought about it, but I guess they probably, obviously, you know, maybe you're not the original creators of that idea, then, because you're talking about pulp novels doing that. So maybe they took inspiration from those kind of things.
Well, Astro Boy was basically ripping off a Disney cartoon. So I mean, that's actually true.
That's the way it is.
When he was making Astro Boy, his main inspiration was Disney.
Huh. It's interesting. I love it because it's West influences East, influences West, influences East, and it's this back and forth kind of thing, creators and things going back and forth, you know. But who's ready for some Would You Rather?
Yes.
Hit me.
All right, this one is gonna get a little blue. I hope this is all right on this podcast, but okay. Would you rather be a nutcracker for the rest of your life, or have your nuts cracked?
Nutcracker.
Nutcracker, yeah.
Really? But see, you can survive the second one.
But is that
that's if you want to endure that pain, though. Then you have to deal with never really being there anymore.
prosthetics and shit? Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah.
So pretty unanimous on the nutcracker one.
Oh yeah.
Be the cracker.
Man, I gotta stop making these so one-sided. I feel like there's always like an obvious choice for some reason.
Yeah.
Let me try another one. Okay.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. So, would you rather have fingernails that light up like Christmas lights, or have Christmas tree tinsel for hair?
Definitely.
Under what circumstances do the nails light up?
Oh, there
question.
you go.
That's a great question. When every time that you feel attraction to another person.
Nah, I'll go
with the lights up nails, because I'm sorry,
I'm gonna go with a tinsel because it's not gonna fall out.
True. No, that's a good point. But you'll always
I'll go
be
with the
stuck
light
with the
because
same
you could
old
use it at a rave, and not only that, you could just wear gloves over them.
But here's the problem,
you-
tinsel. The
you
moment you
can-
get close
You
to
know,
an
little,
open
little
flame.
white Joe.
You can only shave your head. You can shave your head, but
Oh,
how
I'm
can
sorry.
you wear gloves?
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention it's popcorn tinsel, so there's animals constantly pecking.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather go with the light up light.
This is like the monkey paw. You just can't win.
There's always a caveat.
Right, exactly. Oh, I forgot to mention, right? All right, one more, and then we'll go on from there. Let's see. How about that one's kind of. Let's go with. Ooh, that one's actually a tough one. That's actually a really tough one. Okay, yeah. Would you rather not celebrate Christmas this year, or would you rather not celebrate your birthday this year?
Oh,
If it was
birthday.
this year, both Christmas is a little bit better than my birthday this year, so I'm going to say not my birthday. But both were not great.
Does any of those imply that time doesn't pass?
My
That's
birthday was
that's
the
my
worst
question.
ever this year.
Does it imply that time doesn't pass? That is an interesting caveat.
Yeah.
I
I will gladly.
Can you explain what do you mean exactly by that?
Well, if you celebrate Christmas, you're acknowledging that a year has gone by. But if you celebrate your birthday, you're acknowledging that you're getting older.
Oh
So,
wow! Oh wow!
you know-
Yeah. So that's exactly right. You guessed it. So if you don't celebrate Christmas, then time doesn't move forward, but you still get older. But if you don't celebrate your birthday, time will go forward, but you don't age at all.
Yep. See, that's what I meant.
Exactly. Yeah. See, he knew. He knew. See, he's thinking about. That's exactly this. He knows what's going on. This is how you win, guys. This is how we play the game.
I would probably still rather go with Christmas though, because I would rather be able to give others gifts than just always be the one receiving the gifts.
Oh wow! Damn. He really. That's a deep one. Anyone else? What do you guys think?
Oh, down with birthdays.
Down with birthdays?
Yeah, same. Down with the
Like
birthday.
when you're a kid, you like them, and at some point in your life, you're just like, no, don't care anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
This
That's
is
sad.
this is an easy one for me. I quit celebrating birthdays 10 years ago. So
Whoa. So Christmas?
yeah.
Right. Oh man. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one, honestly. For me, I would guess I would go with Christmas. Or I would say I would stop doing birthdays. Yeah, that'd just be a sad thing. Because then now I'd just live forever, and I'd never age, and then I could just dominate the world with comics. So yeah, that seems pretty
And
obvious.
still celebrate Christmas every year. You'll still get
Exactly.
presents.
Yeah. Plus, it also reminds me of if you stop celebrating Christmas, there is that line in the Chronicles of Narnia, where what the wicked witch queen had done. She'd made a world that was always winter but never Christmas.
Oh, damn, that is pretty messed up now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Gotta give it to the Chronicles of Narnia to get it right.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. We'll put that to the side. I'll try and think of another one in the time being. Maybe a different game would be good. But why don't we? Let's see. Who hasn't talked? Cody. How you feeling up to talking about Jack Irons a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Let's see. Best update is we're like 90% through, 99 probably percent through getting the digital to backers. Just a few things. I'm hoping we can maybe even do that by the end of this weekend, but we'll see. So that's one good thing. Texas Coyote a couple weeks ago finished its first run, so that's up on Patreon. No matter how much there's still not an alternative, so I'm stuck there. And
Get off that stick, Jordan.
And it's not enough money to really make a difference to Patreon. So you gotta grind where you gotta grind. So that's available if you guys are interested in the manga. That's also in the kind of adds to the Jack Iron story, but is doing its own thing, and is it's a gag manga, so it's funny where Jack is not funny. Let's see, issue 2, hoping to have a few little previews for you by the end of the weekend, as I said earlier. We'll see how that goes, though. Besides that, just ticking along, doing what we can. I got a pin-up in from the wonderful Mr. Marvel not too long ago, so we got one pin-up for issue 2 already set and ready to go, looking gorgeous. I put a preview up on Twitter that it could be just a pin-up itself. That's how much extra work Troy went and did for us, and I'm very grateful he did. So that's cool. I'm stoked about that. A couple other pinups are in the works. I've had the line art in, so a lot of them are just doing the inking, and then they'll go to the next artist for coloring. Most of my pinups, if people don't remember, were actually all group sanctioned from the community, and I tried to mix up art styles as much as possible, which could be a really bad bag, but so far I think it's going to result in some very cool pieces of work. And so that's been cool, seeing that stuff kind of trickle in. Can't share any of it yet, but that's been cool.
I love that
writing
piece.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I just real quick want to add in. I just love that car piece you recently kind of showed us.
Yeah, that's part of that pinup that came. That's Mr. Marvel, Troy Torres created a long pool. Did for our campaign, so that's a tiny piece. Once again, like I said, that could have been a full pinup, but nope, it's one of two that are like that within the pinup. It's freaking awesome. He really went above and beyond. I can't believe it, but it's so that was very cool. He started later than most and got it in sooner than everybody. So. Always a pro. I appreciate that kind of behavior. Yeah, besides that, just growth writing. I've expanded the amount of characters I have scripts for. So as things progress, I'll be able to add to the Irons verse and hopefully be able to offer a bunch of different things to a bunch of different people. Within that, different genres. Jack's kind of a think piece with action involved. Coyote's a gag, but has a little bit of think piece and heart hidden underneath the Looney Tunes nature of it. The Looney Tunes is kind of I'm not going to say it's like Deadpool, but the concept of him going crazy and trying to be silly because of how horrible things are for him, that's kind of it. And another character I've announced that some of his concepts have come in, which has been great, called Tracker, Top Predator. He is going to be mostly just all action and set pieces, and it's going to be a lot of big kaiju kind of stuff. I'm hoping people enjoy that. It's going to be a bit different, and that's hopefully will be at least previewed in issue 3's campaign. I think it's going to end up being a stretch goal to include an issue of Tracker in the back of Jack, but Jack 3. But we'll see how all that goes down the line. Things are just moving ahead, slowly but surely. So I'm happy to be here and meet these new folks and welcome them to the Wikid team.
Happy to be here. I got to say, you are a good role model for how to hustle.
Thank you. I try to be, just because there's a line you walk. Walking down the street and shoving "look at this" in people's faces doesn't work quite well, and that's kind of what I've been doing on Twitter for like 6 months now. So I'm trying to at least get people to smile when I shove that in their face, or to laugh, or to have a good conversation. And I think that's the one thing you need to do.
The perfect role model for people who are trying to push their indie comics right now, man.
No. Well, I really lucked out too. I was right when the avalanche happened. I was only a week or two after Jawbreakers hit Indiegogo. I had mine out for a month before then and got $10, and then I just let it fail. 2 months before that, actually, I went the full 2 months, made $10. Then I ran it again when Jawbreakers was going up, and I was able to ride that indie awareness wave, and that was a big part of it. But it was the only reason I got those eyes on me through them looking at indie books is because I hustled constantly and I had something to show people. Yeah. I had that issue 1 black and white to point people to. It was like, well, if you like what we're doing here, you're gonna get that. You can just go get that for $2 if you want. But if you want more of it, then please fund us more so I can make this. And then I found a colorist. Wikid found me. A lot of good stuff happened with that campaign, and it's been a blessing. The biggest blessing has been the patience of the backers, though. We've had quite a few speed bumps in this campaign because of how unorthodox it is, from not having to manually collect shipping addresses, which is still not 100% dealt with, but we've been dealing with it good, and I've had no complaints. Everybody's been real polite and flexible, and that's been a thing. That's been a big thing is getting them out to backers. And without Wikid, it wouldn't have happened. So again, I'm happy to be here anytime anybody needs me. But yeah, it's been a heck of a ride.
So we appreciate that you saying that, Cody. It really means a lot to us. And
well, yeah, I mean, honestly, once again, I may have been able to get the funding for the black and white #2 digital without you folks. I don't know. So what's physical hit though, man? That was the thing, and I literally as a new creator and somebody who's really was just throwing his hat in the ring because he was on his last straw on his lively personally. It was a hell of a thing to find good allies and friends and hopefully eventual family in comics here.
That's awesome, man.
It's made all the difference.
Now I wanted to ask, so now that a lot of the backers have been getting their books, what is the general response to the? Have you been getting good feedback?
Yeah, I've been getting some pretty good feedback. So when I first was putting out the issue, digitally, and people became aware, they go and read it and such, and their complaints haven't shown up so far because I think the beauty of the book kind of makes people forget about the weaknesses.
Oh, that's good.
but the black and white. Most of it was my pacing. I basically threw 5 stories into one little 24-page comic. So that's going to do things like that. Jack's a loose anthology. Issue 2 is going to be very similar, where you're hearing stories in his memory from him, and there's going to be a few stories. The first 2 issues are like that. It's just how I decided to divulge the universe to people. And so far that's been good, but again, it was rushed in issue 1 because I just had so much I wanted to get to the reader. And,
I think it comes across well, though, to be honest.
Yeah, a lot of some people find it the exact opposite, and they thought I handled it better than most people do it professionally, that kind of story, and I find that a trip. But I can see my pacing issues, but I also write real quick and brisk, so it's a quick, easy read. I think that helps also. You're not overburdened with too much. You get a lot of info, you get a bunch of little stories, but they all just feed into, oh, here's this cowboy, and at the end he kills this robot. And,
right.
And most people have had fun on that little trip. And issue 2 is going to be kind of similar. It's going to start with him talking at the bar again and just kind of divulging what happened to the world. And there's a lot more action and a lot more things happening in issue 2 because of that. But this issue 2 is going to tell a lot because it lays the foundation for the entire Ironsverse in terms of the bad guys, in terms of the universe he deals with, and all of that. It's just hinted to in the first one, and a lot more about his past and who he is. The second one's more about who he is now in this world, and this is this world. Third one is, here's his tale and this other guy's kind of tale and how they intersect. And hopefully by the end of the first arc, we'll have something really cool for people. Issue 3, it gets, I know issue 1 was real dark. Issue 2, it ups that. And issue 3, we'll see if I have to do a rewrite for Wikid.
Oh boy.
There's at least one scene that's Vertigo level. Issue 2 also, one of the pages I got in from Maxi is nigh Vertigo level, so we'll see. We'll see what we got to do.
You know me, I love some 90s, 80s Vertigo, so Bring it on, man.
There's our main bad guy. It's a great page laid out. One of the four main bad guys is literally just like spinning a sword in a circle and a bunch of heads are popping up. It's awesome. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm stoked for it. Excuse me?
Yeah, there's something I'm curious about out with Jack. With him being immortal and had lived all these different past lives, I'm wondering is this gonna be like sort of a Highlander deal?
Like there can only be one?
No, more like another big part of Highlander was sort of looking at all the different lives that Connor McLeod had lived as an immortal.
That is something I built into Jack for later. My goal with the Ironverse is to establish a universe that anybody can write and create within basically what every collected universe ends up wanting to do for a company. Marvel, they just kept adding characters. DC, they just kept adding characters. That's kind of what I want to do with Jack, but the difference is with Jack is there's almost unlimited potential in his backstory to tell any kind of story you want. And have it set in any time period you want, with any kind of character you want, and it's still a Jack Iron story. This is one of his lives. This affects him currently and how he portrays himself in his own comics, as the Steel Cowboy version anyway. And so that's part of it. That's a huge part of it, honestly. But with the fantastic creatures and all of that, the goal was just to make something that's extremely open and malleable, so that in the future we can adapt however we need. But that's one of the goals of Jack, is that you can show that. In fact, Danku, I forgot his other Danku the artist. I don't know. He does kind of anime lewds on Twitter, kind of manga lewds.
I know
but he did a great page. He was one of the first, in fact, maybe the first to do an alternate life vision of Jack. So that was kind of cool, where it's like the 90s or something, and he's kind of just in the city. That was cool. So that kind of stuff I want to see, but that's down the line. I want to establish the more weird future first. The background, like in the first issue, the background just to establish kind of how he acts and why he's established the main point of an immortal man struggling with the weight of history who cannot, since he's immortal, he can't end his life, so he has to keep going. And he's got a history. He didn't save the world. He let the world crumble. He did all these things. He didn't try to take over the world. He didn't do a lot of things. He just let life pass him by. Hit him in Steel Cowboy. He's kind of considering not doing that anymore.
So basic. Okay, so I'm getting more like the opposite of, say, the Emperor of Mankind.
Again, I want to say he's going to be deeply linked with our four main villains, which I have described similar to the Chaos Gods. They're not the same, but they're similar enough.
And you can find out about.
I just say the opposite because, during the Age of Strife, the Emperor decided, okay, fuck this. It's time for me to actually take action and lead humanity.
Yeah, kind of. Except it's a lot less ego. A lot less ego. The Emperor of Mankind, he was the only one who could do it, and it's true. I'm not saying his ego was wrong, but it was a lot of ego. Jack doesn't have that. Jack's lived too many lives and seen too many horrors. He's been serial killers. He's been rapists. He's been raped. He's been dead children. He's watched his parents die. All that shit. He doesn't have that level of ego. He has more of an attachment to the individual than the Emperor of Mankind did. The Emperor had an attachment to humanity as a whole. Whereas Jack's more, these people are worth saving. This person's worth saving. So that's the difference. He doesn't want to take over the galaxy. He just simply wants to make things better.
So it's the universal versus the particular.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. But yeah, in a way, his arc is similar to the Emperor of Mankind's, but with a lot less power. He's just a dude who can't die, who's pretty damn smart. He's probably one of the smartest engineers on the planet. But that doesn't say much for a monkey race that kind of got destroyed in the 90s.
So, guys, I'd take off.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, no. Happy to be on the team, and let's do this again soon.
Awesome, man. We look forward to it. You have a great New
absolutely.
Year's, and can't wait to see some more from Movie Men.
Have a great one.
Stoked.
See ya.
Later. Well,
Hey,
that's exciting, Tony.
What?
I'm just saying, that's exciting. Just all the updates, with issue 2 coming out, and moving forward with the other projects down the line, and the whole Ironverse is looking really strong.
The goal is to put forward a strong face. What's in the
Nice.
background doesn't matter if you're doing that right.
Nice,
and,
yeah.
and as long as your fumbles are being picked up. But
Always got to pick up those fumbles.
Yeah, that's the bit. But
right.
I'm super stoked. I'm hoping. So my partner with Cactus Coyote wants to add a few pages to Cactus Coyote before any kind of public release outside of Patreon, like on Tapas or anything. But if anybody wants to read it, just get a hold of me. I'll shoot you a digital copy of what it is so far, so folks kind of get an idea. I'd be happy to. I also want feedback because it's the quality level is noticeably different than Jack, but that's why we called it a manga, honestly. But I think what it adds kind of leaves you with wanting to see more of Cactus, which is what I wanted. You kind of want to see more of Jack's what he's headed towards. Because he might just stay on Earth if this comic doesn't stay long enough. But if it does, then he's going to join up with Cactus up in space, and we're really setting up a very world that's very well built, in my opinion, anyway. I think people enjoy it. Who knows?
No, of course they do, man. What are you talking about? Don't be. You're so modest.
Well, Cactus Coyote has not gained the traction I had hoped for the price we were offering it.
Well,
but
it'll get there. It'll find its audience.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It took me a decade to get Jack out.
So. Right, exactly. Well, I'd like to go ahead and introduce one of the newest members to the team. Our next special guest. Are you available? Are you on the line, Scott?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, welcome.
Thank you.
Scott is a brand new creator. He's coming out with a new project. It's called Wrath, and it's going to be a manga. And why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. So Wrath is basically the story of a young man who is dealing with some past and present traumas, and inadvertently learns that he has the power to kind of project those negative emotions that have been welling up inside him into a physical form. And it kind of goes through the adventure of him and his friend Nicole, and how they kind of deal with that as a whole, and what that kind of does to change their lives.
That's interesting. It's would you say some of your influences are in writing this story?
It's got kind of a supernatural feel. I'm a big fan of like Bleach. Trying to think of anything else that it's just a lot of my own personal stuff in there, mixed in there. Manga in general. I don't really know much more to add on to that one.
Let's see. No, but that's interesting. And you're currently looking for an artist, is that right?
Matt and I have been actually working. We might have someone. We're going to do some test work. We had one that we thought, we had discussed earlier, but that didn't pan out. But it looks like we might have someone else.
Nice.
Interested in the project. We're going to do some test work to see if it's a good fit.
So if you guys aren't following him, you can follow him on Twitter. Well, we're going to do some plugs later for that. We'll plug everyone's stuff. But just be on the lookout for new stuff coming from both our Twitter and Scott's Twitter as new updates come out. When do you think you would like to get the first issue out there on Indiegogo?
It's ambitious, but I'm hoping that we can get our crowdfunding going sometime in February, and have something to show for it. Because right now it's mostly just what I have script wise and on my end. So right now we're going to work on the art. Matt is on board to do some of the concept for the creature that manifests itself. So hopefully we can get working on that in the next week or two, depending on mine and his schedule.
Nice. Well, that's awesome. That's going to be really exciting. I know Matt was really looking forward to do some of those concepts for you and kind of things like that. So I'm excited to see what you guys come up with. You know, I when you told me about the story, I really liked the concept of it. So I'm really looking forward to it. And we're both, if I can think I can say for Matt and everyone else in here, we're really happy to have you on the team.
Yeah, it's great to be here, and I had to say, like, when my first artist fell through, like the support that the team gave me was just fantastic. So I wanted to thank everyone for that.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, should we do? I do. Well, I do want to say that Bruce did have to dip out. Duty calls, as it were. And but we were just wanted to say thank you for being on the podcast. He was a great guest, you know, and check out his work, The Wreck, on once it's gonna be, we're gonna, it's gonna be coming out soon no matter what, so just be looking out for it. It's an amazing project, so just look for that soon. And do you guys, yeah, do you guys want to do another game?
Yeah, I'm up for it.
I got one called Christmas Find Out Who Game.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Basically, it's I'm sure it's probably based on some other game, but basically, I'll ask a question, and you get a point if you. I believe you say never. It's kind of like Never Have I Ever, I guess, really, isn't it? Have you guys ever heard of that game?
Yeah, I think so.
Don't worry,
Usually
it's Christmas.
Drinking.
Oh no, don't worry. This is Christmas theme. This is a Christmas theme one. That's what's Christmas Find Out Who Game. Exactly. Okay, everyone, take out their eggnog right now and start drinking. I've mailed you all packages of eggnog. It should be sitting on your front porch right now.
In the sun. It'll be
in the sun. Yes, it's been baking for hours. Don't worry, it's still good.
The chunk is good for you.
The chunk is good for you. That's definitely one to remember. So, we'll go ahead and I'll ask a question, and then you say whether you've done it or not. I think is basically the idea. So, never has had a white Christmas.
I'm getting yeah, I've had plenty myself.
Have you really? You're in New Mexico though.
Yeah, up in the mountains.
Whoa.
Rockies.
It snows, huh?
The Taos Valley.
Yeah,
snows like
Damn.
crazy.
I'm
snowed in right now.
Jeez, man, I didn't realize it snowed over there.
Oh yeah, Taos Ski Valley is one of the more famous in the world.
Huh. Oh, that's cool. Well, lucky you.
No, I can't afford to ski, man.
Skiing's a rich man's game. What are you talking about?
We also got golfing here. No, I don't go golfing.
Let's see. Let's count it down. What else don't you do? Let's see. Go to I'm sure they have some cool clubs that you don't go to. Maybe a couple of casinos that you don't see very often.
There are casinos. This is New Mexico. Got one right before you head up to Pueblo, of course.
Really? Of course. I actually just went to a casino for the first time myself about a month ago. It was not fun.
I had to walk through one for a con. I had to walk through Buffalo Thunder Casino to get to my first Comic Con. That was fun though. It was fun.
I don't know. Are you guys anyone big fans of gambling here? Or anyone tried it and kind of liked it, or?
I am a Christian, so gambling is a no.
Ooh.
I'm just not really a big fan of it.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like losing my money.
That's the main thing. I don't like losing my money either.
Right?
My money.
I'll go for like the poker machines. That's about it.
We got a ton of native casinos out here in Washington, believe it or not.
I do.
I can see that. Are there very many tribes that in the Washington area?
Actually, yeah. There's several. Like one. You got the Puyallup tribe, which is like an entire county. In fact.
Wow. That's interesting. Yeah. But okay, so I know Cody said he had a white Christmas. What about the rest of you?
I had more of a.
Go ahead.
You go first, Scott.
I've had one when I was out in Kentucky one year.
Oh, that's nice. What
Same
about you,
here.
Matt?
Reading. Same here. Just one.
Oh, wow.
Washington, it was more gray, but with some green.
So would you count it?
I don't know. I mean, like, I moved back to Washington just because after living in years, like, filled the tank on snow. It's just like nothing ruins a snow day more than having to spend your entire morning shoveling your driveway.
Really? Who can attest to this? Cody, I know you got shovel.
Oh no, I just don't go unless I have to.
Oh.
I mean, come on.
Sorry,
No,
bro. I think
seriously.
he's got you beat on that one. I think that was the good way to go on that one.
Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, just you wake up one morning and you see like, oh, there's a ton of snow on the ground. I wonder if school's closed today. You check the school closings, waiting for your school to pop up. It does. Hooray! Dad says, go shovel the driveway.
Oh, dang. He played you, dude. He really did. That sucks. All right, so what's the next question? Where'd it go? Oh yeah. My bad. All right. So who has celebrated Christmas in another country?
I've never been out of the country. So.
No.
Really? Canada? That counts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I lived up in Canada for a while, so yeah, that technically counts.
And then you get a point. Yes, I'm keeping points. Just like in the what's that? Whose line is it anyway? Just the same. So 3. Who's returned a gift you received from last Christmas? Oh, that's interesting. I mean, he or she, rather, I should say.
Last Christmas. No,
Anyone returning
no
gifts?
Last Christmas.
No. Who returns gifts, man? That's messed up.
Yeah, I
mean, like,
rarely do.
You're talking about
It's gotta be something
regifting,
real
right?
stupid.
I guess regifting counts, yeah.
Yeah, I've never done that.
Or just return to the store for like credit or whatever too works.
I've only done that with like clothes that didn't fit.
That's fair. Yeah, I wouldn't.
And then I just
I
exchange.
think that's the only time I've done it too.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had to return a gift ever. At least not.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Oh, this is fun. Who's seen a real live reindeer?
Yeah, I think I've seen a few caribou.
I've
But
seen
not like wild.
I've seen a caribou, here or there, one or two. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I want to say yes too.
Yeah, I would think, somebody's been to a Christmas parade or something. I haven't, but I think I've seen them in zoos.
Yeah. Matt?
And I've eaten caribou.
Oh, really? Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
It's like most other venison. It's fine. Depends on how you cooked it.
Most other venison?
Yeah. Any kind of deer, elk.
Man, this guy is a connoisseur of exotic meats.
Nah.
No?
It's hard to find tiger. You got to sneak in when the lights are off, and you got to
right.
Then you got to carry them out or cut off the stick.
They got to be so
in the zoo.
Yeah, they got to be fresh. They got to be really fresh.
You can't just do that. And if you try to ship a tiger from India, even just a kitten, they never make it. So you're just eating dead old dried kittens.
All the tigers, they end up on boats with Indian kids in the middle of the ocean. It happens every time. It's unfortunate, but it's a problem.
Richard
It really is.
Parker.
Richard Parker.
Wilson. Yeah. Should have eaten that tiger.
Right? Yeah, man. It would have been
tiger
really good.
meat, dude. Don't
yum. So that's a point for Cody.
Did you see one? I ate one.
Right? What's better than that?
You get 2 points, one for seeing, one for eating, right?
One for yeah, exactly. It's a double pointer, a double whammy.
Yeah.
So, who believed in Santa Claus until you were 10 years old? At least 10 years old, I guess.
I don't
Never
know. My
did.
faith was destroyed.
You never did. What does that mean? What does that mean?
Well, here's the thing. My parents never made a deal of it. So when I was a kid growing up, as far as I was concerned, when it was Christmas Eve before I went to bed, there were no presents under the tree, and when I woke up, there were, and I just never questioned. I just never asked why. They were just there. And then when I was 10 years old, I asked my dad like how they got there, because I think I was at this point I didn't like I knew Santa was kind of like was bogus and shit. So he just said, "Oh, your mom and I put them under the tree when you're asleep," and it was like, "Oh, yeah, that makes sense."
Yeah, you're like, oh, that makes sense. So you're saying your parents didn't make a deal with Santa?
No,
So
they never did. Well, no, my parents never made it.
I think that's a big mistake. He's gonna come after you guys.
My parents never made it. My parents never made it. They just never made Santa a thing in our family. I think partially just because like my dad. Oh, I'm not gonna discount that being a pastor's kid didn't play into that.
Well, I'm sure that's part of it. Now, but I thought Christians like Santa.
Yeah, he's Saint Nicholas, but well, Catholics do in
Orthodox. Saint Nicholas is Orthodox.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. I know it used to be. I know there's a bunch of different versions, but I think the original was the guy who kids would leave their shoes out and he'd put candy in them.
I don't know.
But I think, but yeah. It's an old thing. It's my family's not Christian at all, but we celebrate a lot of different holy days and different things our way, and Christmas is one of them. And yeah, my parents, and particularly my mom, she'd sign some presents from Santa. I always knew, because I know her handwriting. Even when I was little, I could recognize the similar writing. But still, I appreciate that little effort to add a little bit of magic to a season, even if it's positive magic, like illusion and sleight of hand, something to make you happy, and it's not hurting you. It's a good lie. I'm okay with those. I'm always a fan of those.
It reminds me of this one line from has anyone ever read or seen the miniseries for the Discworld novel Hogfather?
No, I've read the graphic novel adaptation of Discworld. I don't remember which
is that a Gaiman one? No,
I forgot his name. Terry Pratchett.
Right. Yes, okay.
Okay, so yeah, so in Discworld they basically have a Christmas analog called Hogswatch, and instead of Santa, they have the Hogfather.
Yeah.
Well, that's hilarious. Hogfather.
Is that the one where like death takes over for him?
Yes, that's the one. Yeah. And at the end of it, Death tells Susan, we need to have, just so that. This is me paraphrasing. Basically, so that there's a little magic in the world, you need to let people believe in the little lies so they can believe in the big ones.
Yep. That's basically what it is, and that's why I've been a big fan of like stage magic and street magic, because it keeps that little bit alive. Now, there's some people who do it in a very dark way. I'm not a big fan of, but overall, I think that's a good thing.
We're not
very old.
When you say dark way, are we talking Chris Angel?
Oh yeah. He's a big one. He likes putting horror and shock into people more than he likes making them happy, and that's not. I mean, some people that makes them happy and great, but he's not just doing it for those folks. And so there's a lot of people who are hurt or scared or traumatized by things he does.
Show Mind Freak, I think.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying he went about it wrong either. I'm just saying the whole concept isn't my bag.
Mind Freak. That's what?
I'm just trying to remember if Chris Angel's show is still on anymore.
I hope not.
He still has a Vegas show. I mean, I think he has a whole part of a
I'm not a fan. I have to say, I'm not a big fan of Chris Angel.
I'm a Penn and Teller guy.
Oh yeah, he's pretty funny.
A Penn and Teller guy. I love those guys. They
just
do
feel like
the dark shit, and then they make you smile. I'm happy about
but
it.
they're also, I feel like they're also very skilled magicians. I just feel like a lot of Chris Angel's stuff on his TV show, at the very least, was a lot of stage stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But I don't know. Let's not get. This isn't the magic podcast. We don't have to get into that. Let's go ahead and ask. We have a few more questions, and then we'll tally up the final vote, or the final points, I should say. So no one believes in Santa until they were 10. That's
Yeah, I don't believe
that's
so.
interesting. I remember when I found out. I was pretty young, and I was devastated. I go up to my dad. I'm like, these kids at school, they said he wasn't real. Is he? He is real, right? And he goes, no, son, he's not real. I was like, oh.
Yeah, it's a lot easier than walking in on your parents at the age of 8 doing it. So,
doing what?
You kind of like
delivering presents,
putting presents out there from Santa, quote unquote, and then you just sit there and think about it for a while, and you think back to it, and you just go, that fucker ain't real.
Yeah, in fact, I think Tooth Fairy was spoiled for me first, and then that's like, oh, well, it's basically the same thing, isn't it? Just more expensive stuff.
Yeah, when you find out one, it kind of starts stumbling to
Easter
all the
Bunny,
others.
all of them kind of go.
Mm-hmm.
So, the next one is that one's kind of shitty. Has all of your Christmas shopping done? That doesn't really work. It's after Christmas. So let's go ahead and say, does anybody have plans for New Year's Eve?
Get issue 1 of Changeling finished.
That's your New Year's Eve plan?
That's about as much of a resolution as I've got.
Oh, I see. That's like your New Year's resolution. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Does everyone have a New Year's resolution? Cody, maybe?
Nah, I don't make I don't make certainties. Life's too valuable. But if I had to, yeah, it would be to try and get maybe the whole Ark of Jack out by the end of the year. That would be a fucking killer. But we'll see.
Wow, that would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean we're on track. If I can pay my artist enough to make a living, then we're fine. His time is mine. But at the moment, his time is not just mine. So we'll get there.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say to anyone who wants to start up, this is something that has just kind of gotten drilled into my head at just through experience. Getting through the first issue is a bitch.
Why is that? Why would you? What is it about it that you hate the most?
Not that I hate it. It's just more like it's just. It's not that I can afford to basically pay this out of pocket. The drawback is I lose time. It's gonna take longer this way. Like now, I'm gonna have more funds clearing up come 2019, which is good, which will help speed it up. But let's just say it's not gonna be going as fast as I would like it to be.
Jack 1, at least the black and white, done real cheap, took like a year and a half to finish. So I know what you're talking about. But the difference is, yeah, Jack number 1 really it was done bare bones.
Oh man, dude, I got it even harder when Ginger doesn't always have access to her boyfriend's PC. We're trying to work on fixing that though.
Yeah. Sadly, the
that's a New Year's resolution.
Rough.
New Year's
finish the first issue and get Ginger her own PC.
Yeah, that's a good resolution right there. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I would say for me, resolution wise,
do not say something like going to the gym more because no one ever follows on that.
I've given up on that a long time ago. No. Let's see. I would say probably put out get some more issues of Barrels out. I don't know how many total issues we're gonna do, but right now for now we're shooting for a 4-arc miniseries. Could go somewhere else after that, but for now it's gonna be a pretty self-contained story. Within 4 issues, you'll get beginning, start, middle, end.
Quick question: is the guy who's the main character in issue 1? Do you kind of follow his story, or is it going to continue to be kind of more of a wider kind of depth of character story?
A little bit of both, actually. So the issue 1, it pretty much
Okay.
primarily you'll probably notice, Cody. It pretty much primarily follows the singular character, like you said, and it's kind
Yeah.
of like it's his story, and he
Oh.
will still be the driving force behind the story. But issue 2, I'm having a lot of fun with is it acts more like a movie in that you're getting, instead of getting one singular scene, you're getting a lot of scenes, and so you're going to follow
I
his
get
story.
ya.
And another story and another part of the story, and then we'll come back to his story, and then we'll change again, and that way
Yeah,
I
it
can tell a
started
big
feeling-
story. Go ahead.
Yeah, it started feeling that way in issue 1. As you read issue 1, it kind of started to expand the cast. I want to say you kind of could
Right,
feel
yeah.
the world expanding, and you're going to focus on different. Okay, that makes sense. I could feel that then in issue 1. So well done.
Cool, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, I wanted this one to be the kind of like the setting the tone for what we want to see. Who's this character? What's the conflict? And now where do we go from here? And how does like you said, how does the world expand and kind of get more complicated? But yeah, issue 2 is gonna be fun, man. Issue 2 is gonna be fun. It starts off with a really, really dark scene, and Jeff's done such a good job with it. Like, I love, because he's such a big horror fan, so I decided to add in a little horror element to it a bit.
Oh, is this doctor I've seen previews
Yes,
of?
he's a torture expert, and you kind of walk in with not knowing what's going to happen because you're walking into the scene and they're just talking, and all of a sudden the camera pans to the right, so to speak, and all of a sudden you usually see all these guys standing around, and it's just this really dark, creepy scene, and the two guys are like, the torture guy and the other guys are acting like it's no big deal, and just like reveling in it, and so there's this it's gonna be fun. There's a corrupt cops there, and it's a good dynamic. A lot of different character dynamics going on.
Right on.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely that's what I would say. My New Year's resolution is more barrels. And I'll just tease a little bit. I think I've talked a little bit about it. I have a new comic project coming out, hopefully starting in March. Going to be starting working on it, and it's going to be a post-apocalyptic sci-fi thriller. I would say I'll go ahead and tease it here. It's going to be kind of a cross between the comic The Walking Dead and the manga Gangsta. I don't know if anyone's familiar with the manga Gangsta.
I've seen the anime, which was pretty.
Yes. Yeah, I like that. So it's imagine that kind of style where these. I won't go too much into it, but if you're familiar with either of those, you kind of start getting the gist of it. But we'll have more soon to talk about. I've nailed down an artist, I think, who I'll be revealing soon, and trying to nail down a colorist at the moment. But yeah, that's about it for me.
Yeah. At least, like I said, at least nobody said no. At least no one put going to the gym as their resolution.
Yeah, dude. We'd have to kick him off the podcast, I think, if anyone said that.
Is it my turn?
Yes, please.
I can say go to the gym if you want.
Oh no, they got to get out of here! Get out of here! What are you doing?
I guess it would be, get my project launched on the crowdfunding in February, and lock down my artist.
Yeah, no, that's excellent, exciting. I would love to have that happen, because once the indie go gets going, that's when the fun really starts going. Isn't that right, Cody?
Yes and no. The hype is nice, and the energy from the community, if you can cultivate it, really keeps it going, and it makes it a pleasurable experience, if not a hard and a lot of work. But I'm both dreading because it's a grind. It's a hell of a grind.
Just get ready, Scott.
If you don't have somebody lifting you up.
Right, which is good that we.
Us at Wikid will be doing that for you, Scott. So.
Oh yeah.
That'll help a little bit, but yeah, it's hard out there.
Yeah, it's hard out there for a shrimp. That's
That's true. At the goal, trying to set a reasonable bar to reach. because I don't want to have to kickstart or Indiegogo like every issue if I can avoid it.
Mm.
Oh, I
Yeah,
get
that's-
that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's smart. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I do the same thing. If I get enough traction, I would add stretch goals to add issues. But I have my budget on how much to professionally, to give a professional rate to my team, how much it costs per Jack Irons issue, and so we would have to hit quite a few stretch goals without
So,
making the project seem intimidating.
Right. No. Yeah. That's always a tricky challenge with that. Now we'll go ahead and do one more question, and then maybe one more. Maybe do another couple. Would you rather's maybe. So let's see. So last question, because I don't like. There's a couple of them are like, who's been to Bethlehem? It's like, well, no one's been to Bethlehem. But
Yeah, definitely no.
right. So let's go ahead and say this one. Who has peeked at a Christmas present before?
Oh,
I did. I can't remember.
I've definitely done that.
Have you really?
The worst part is
I'm
as
pretty
an
sure
adult.
almost every kid has.
As an adult? Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, that's
Maybe as a kid, probably, but as an adult.
he's like, I can't help it. And Cody, did you say yeah?
Oh yeah. I used to make a game when I was a kid, seeing if I can find where they
Oh my
hide
God.
shit. And either I'd get to it before they wrapped it, or I would do the old shake and look test.
And Brett, what about you? Brett?
If
Are
I
you,
did, I don't remember.
You don't remember? Okay, so if that's the case, then our winner is Cody with a grand total of 4 points.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dog, what do you win? And what does he win? Vanna, show him what he's won.
Is it Tiger Steaks?
It's tiger steaks, a whole rack of tiger steaks straight from India.
I'm getting a feeling you're leading me on, and you're breaking my heart.
No, it's
I want
shipping
tiger steaks.
Amazon Prime, 2-day free shipping.
Amazon Prime tiger meat.
Exactly.
That's a hell of a section.
Just be
They also
thankful he's
got,
not giving you
gorilla
a
meat.
no prize, Cody.
Richard Parker patties.
I like that. Richard Parker patties.
These are my Richard Parker patties.
If anyone knows what a no prize is, congrats.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
The latest winner I know isn't my fan. I'm not a big fan of. So yeah, the no prize didn't mean too
Let's
much.
just say the latest winner did not deserve it, and leave it at that.
And Cody always deserves it, so it's just a completely different. Yeah.
Well, see, I actually understand the concept. We all get infinite no prizes. You just have to accept that you're getting it.
That's the key. Well, enjoy it. I hope you put it on your mantle and maybe make you frame it. I don't know, but whatever you do with it, enjoy it. Whatever it is.
I will. I'll make sure to hang the stakes on the wall. Maybe I'll frame them.
Yeah. Yeah, hang the stakes on the wall. That sounds like a really good idea.
You know what? I just nail them. Get that whole abattoir kind of feeling. They look
just
like people
meat,
being
just
skinned.
hanging,
But
just
you know,
raw
tiger
meat.
rugs everywhere. You know.
Yeah.
Tiger rugs.
Exactly.
Wear my big old tiger mantle, go naked, coat myself in blood. You know.
Exactly.
Whole thing.
The usual things. You know?
Yeah, you got to pay to see that though. That's
Exactly.
Patreon.
That's behind
exclusive.
That's behind the Patreon wall.
Yeah.
You've
My
heard
tiger meat rituals.
right? You know, sure. There's Cactus Coyote, but the tiger meat rituals. That's what you really want. That's
Well,
what
yeah,
you're really
that-
going after.
I mean, I try to bring them in with comics, and then I try to push them away.
Go for the comics, stay
with
for the
tiger
tiger.
meat.
That's what I always say.
Exactly.
Guys, I'm gonna have to jump. So I gotta get lunch and then get ready for work. But yeah, thanks for having me on, and happy New Year's to all the folks at Wikid and all the fans we've picked up.
Oh, thank you so much. Happy New Year's to you as well. And where can people find you and follow you on Twitter?
You can follow me on Twitter at Brett1106. Next, you can also if you find that, you basically find everything because I link my YouTube and I have my Patreon linked in the pinned tweet, and you can also follow my team. And you can also follow my colorist, Ginger Foxy, at VatCraftyFoxy.
Nice, man. Well, awesome. We're gonna be looking forward to seeing some more new stuff from you in the new year.
Yeah, me too. Thanks, guys. Bye.
See ya. Have a good one.
Take care.
Have a good one.
Nice, man. Well, should we do a few more before we wrap up here? We're getting towards the end of the podcast here, but we do have a few more features left we can dive into.
Yeah, I'm up for whatever. I'll hang till the end.
Hang
I'm
until
a
the
ride or
end,
die
yeah.
bitch.
Ride or die, motherfuckers! This is the Wicked Crew, yo. You don't be messing with the Wicked Crew. Wicked Crew ain't nothing to fuck with, yo. Wait, protect your neck.
I
Protect your
wasn't
neck.
going that angle.
Protect your neck.
But I got you. I was going more biker, less gangsta. But
Oh,
both,
okay.
both
bad.
are
My
are
bad.
good.
Okay, my bad. Oh, ride or die. I see. Okay. They both work.
It's applicable. Yeah, I was gonna say it's applicable in both cultures.
Both cultures.
Gotta go full anthropologist on it. But go on.
Speaking of which, I did want to say I tried to say this earlier, but I'm not sure if you heard me. My sister did a field school in Taos, New Mexico.
Oh, in Taos. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I could see that.
She helped
that's a
the
trip.
native people build some of the pueblos or whatever, you know.
Well,
And,
yeah.
some churches
Good
and
for
things.
her for trying. It really is a third world country.
Wow.
Just literally across the block. And Taos Pueblo is one of the best funded and healthiest pueblos in the country, and it's still a
Really?
third world country. Yeah, they have the
Really?
most
Wow.
land rights. They own entire. They actually have their sacred mountain. We didn't take it away. No white man's allowed up there, or else you're not coming back.
No go
No,
zone.
you can come back, but it's a hell of a thing. So I've worked with a balloon company, and here's a tale about that for the hell of it, real quick. They once drifted over the mountain. Somebody wanted to fly over it, and that was fine. That's totally cool. You can fly over it, but they had to make an emergency landing on it. And there was a huge thing. It involves the feds. It involves the entire war. There's 3 councils. I think there's the war, the religious, and then there's a kind of the more overall politician council in the tribe. And you have to be drugged between everybody involved has to be drugged in front of all of them. They all have to give their judgment of what's going to happen. Then they have to discuss what the actual judgment's going to be. And then you got to deal with that while dealing with the feds and them being pissed at you too because you started this whole thing.
Damn! Wow, that's so wild.
Yeah, it's still the Wild West out here, folks. People don't really think about it, but it really is. You can shoot somebody in the middle of the mesa and they won't find them.
Jeez, that's intense, man. That's a good inspiration for comics, though.
Yeah, people disappear over our Gorge Bridge, which you've probably seen in a few movies. Easy Rider, Terminator Salvation, a bunch of other movies. But yeah, it's a suicide hotspot around the country too. A lot of odd things in this.
Interesting. You know, it's interesting. Kind of reminds me of I've been catching up on the Fear the Walking Dead TV show. It's a spinoff of The Walking Dead. And one of the major story arcs they deal with is a Native American tribe who had been battling legal battles with a farm over land rights, and they continually lost. And now it's the apocalypse, and he's going to take his land back no matter what, because he's saying, you know, you was never your land to begin with. And it's and there's a lot of more blood and backstory between the two characters, so there's a lot of bitterness already. But it was just an interesting concept of well, who owns, you know, who has the right to what in this post-apocalyptic world, and who's wrong and who's right, and you know, it's kind of really interesting.
Well, that is an interesting exploration. It's kind of hard to do too, so I applaud them for trying. I haven't seen it, so I can't speak to the quality of the.
I thought it was well done. I thought it was well done.
But the attempt in itself deserves
right, yeah,
an accolade.
No, it was really cool, and it just reminded me because it was what it came down to is they wanted the land direct because it was a sacred burial site, and he actually had desecrated one of his ancestors' grave site, taking their bones just so that they wouldn't be disturbed by the people living there, and so all he wants is to bring them back to the rightful place. So it was this really kind of compelling story, I thought.
During a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah,
that's
it's like
I like that.
Yeah, right. That's something I'd never seen before, and so I thought that was nice that they were able to kind of touch on some real world issues because there are so many real world issues for Native Americans.
Yeah, we're going to see how that comes forward with Jack
Really?
because New Deadwood is a reservation for all intents and purposes.
Wow.
Definition and how it works is basically a reservation by the galactic government instead of some white man. So
Right.
it should be interesting. It's a large chunk of land that's protected, and that's why the four main bad guys haven't completely annihilated humanity. But I'm hoping issue 2 should show a little bit of it, and down the line I'll be talking about those reservations because humanity's just one of many.
Wow.
And,
Yeah.
And what they really are is kind of what they are for real world too. It's not a good thing.
Yeah. Now the galactic. You mentioned the galactic government. They are not on the same side as the other the bad guys, the villains.
Well, I don't want to spoil too much.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. That's what I'm
Neither
saying.
faction is good, but the Anno do the Galactic Police. They do fight the main bad guys. They're the only faction strong enough to actually protect and hold worlds. That doesn't mean they're good guys. It doesn't mean that there's no corruption. And we explore that really good in Cactus Coyote, and we'll get there with Jack. But Cactus Coyote, that's what, second arc, I think. First arc's just really establishing Cactus and the humor in the world. So, but yeah, second arc's something like that, and then third arc is super about the galactic government. And so we'll see. We gotta get there.
Nice, dude. Yeah, so people really got to be on the Patreon because you want to get the two reading experiences together, really.
I mean, you don't have to. One or the other is fine, but both together, I think you get a little bit more feeling of what we're trying to do with Ironverse Comics.
Right, you get a larger picture.
That's why I think that's why my partner was able to do it. This was all, he did the writing and the art and all that shit all on his own without pay or anything. He just invested his time into Ironverse Comics, and Cactus Coyote is a labor of love, and I'm happy to be helping it. I lettered it. I didn't letter it great. I'm learning lettering. We're hoping the goal of Cactus was to do kind of the One Punch Man thing. Get it out. And then if people like it, get it remastered. That's great. What we're doing. Again, we'll see how that goes. But
now,
plans, and I'm stoked on my universe.
you have. Speaking of your universe, you kind of talked a little bit about how you want it to be a universe where a lot of people can participate in writing. Now, is there if I'm not mistaken, is there a short story that was also canon with Jack Irons?
I know somebody. I know the character's name's Turbo Dozer. I believe the author's name is Mike Whitaker. He did a crossover short story that was actually really accurate without him knowing too much about the Jack Irons world, which was cool. I love when they do that. They overlaid enough. He left it vague enough that that works. And he inserted things that were in issue 1 in there just to kind of give it the feel. He did a really good job. So that I don't know if I'd call it canon, but it could be because it doesn't affect too much. But because it's his character traveling to my world,
spin-off more than anything, really.
Yeah, something like that. Really, I can't think of anybody else who has taken me up on that. Basically, Cactus Coyote was the first. Really, he wanted to do Golden Monk when I first put it out, but then when he read the script, he's like, my art won't work for this. It needs grand set pieces, and I can't do that. So we pushed Golden Monk back, and then he came up with Cactus Coyote, kind of just pitched one page of it to me as kind of a joke, and then we just ran with it.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing, dude.
Yeah.
Well, let's see here. I'll go ahead and throw out a would you rather here for you fine folks. Oh, this is funny. This is kind of pertinent to what we were just talking about. Would you rather visit the North Pole or visit Bethlehem?
Depending on how bad the Middle East is at the time I plan to go.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would choose
with Cody.
See, I was gonna say I'm gonna choose Bethlehem because then I would have gotten a point on that last game, and maybe then I could have won. You know.
Yeah, it's at North Pole. I mean, there's nothing to do there. You can stay and look at the pretty lights and all the white. Maybe get eaten by a polar bear or something. I don't know.
Yeah, or be on a cruise, but that's about it.
More of an expedition than a trip, too.
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah, I don't
They'll go
see
up
too
there
many.
for a visit.
Right, there's not too many round trip plane tickets that I recall seeing. Uh, well, that's a good. Oh, okay. So, no, no. That one's creepy. Um,
Bum, bum, bum.
right? It's like, what do I do? How about this one here then? Would you rather have Frosty the Snowman for a friend or Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer for a friend?
Oh, that's tough. One can fly and totally like light your way home, and the other's just like pure magic and hilarious. And if you are sick of them, you steal his hat.
Get out of
Well,
here,
it
man.
Both are good
one of them
choices.
can be around all the time, where the other one's only around once a year. Around
Yeah, you just
one,
keep
two,
them in a
three
meat
years.
locker. You know, Frosty surrounded by my tiger steaks.
Frosty and the Tiger Steaks. They grilled them up. It was so great.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd probably have to go with Rudolph. At least you could train him to fight.
That's
you
true.
know.
Yeah. I mean, he's got to be bigger by now too. He'd probably ride that fucker.
Yeah.
Wait, you wanted to train Rudolph to fight for like the reindeer like pit fighting league? Like,
Oh no. Just as more of like somebody busting into my house. There you go. Go
Oh, yeah.
fight
Or
him.
by a reindeer.
Like a reindeer boxing league is what you're
There we
saying.
go. Yeah, we can
Okay.
introduce that. Or whenever he needs to mate, he can just kick the crap out of the other reindeer.
Yeah, get into some rutting. Yeah.
I like this I like this angle. This is an interesting take on it. Now, would you rather eat your cereal with eggnog instead of milk, or would you rather eat a candy cane sandwich?
Ugh. Both sound like vomit.
Yeah.
I guess candy cane sandwich. Just please be decent bread.
Nope, it's candy bread. Candy
Well,
cane bread.
that's decent. It's better than like I don't know, cheese wheat or something. That would not go well with
I'd
candy
probably
cane.
go with the candy cane sandwich if it's candy bread or something like that.
And then
Yeah.
but it's got lettuce, mayonnaise, tomato, onion.
Gotta have that mayo.
Yeah,
Oh
cane.
man, as soon as it's like
I think I'd take the eggnog with maybe some like Lucky Charms because like the marshmallow might go with the eggnog.
But it's a whole. I mean, you got to drink the whole bowl of eggnog too.
ooh, yeah,
Gotta
no,
finish
I'm
it
still
off.
going to go with that. I'm still going to go with that candy sandwich.
Yeah, candy cane
A bowl
sandwich.
full of eggnog. Oh, that's
Ugh.
so much
I
eggnog.
think it'd be more like the Tang sandwich from Married with Children, where it's just like bits of candy cane between two pieces of bread.
Ugh.
That's what I was thinking too at first. But you know what? I
Fair.
think it's a harder choice if it's a hero candy cane sandwich.
Right. It's
You
yeah.
gotta eat a 6 foot long
Yeah, man.
candy cane
That's a-
sandwich or a full wok of eggnog and cereal.
Man, that's so much food. Oh my god.
Yep, both suck. Both will kill you.
Yeah, I'll go with the sandwich, I think. Well, no. I'll go with the eggnog because you can just, pour it down your throat and just get it in there, get it over with fast. That sandwich
You
is
can
gonna go
go
down
Kobayashi on
slow.
the sandwich.
Ew.
Just dip it in
Kobayashi
water.
Maru,
Yeah.
the sandwich.
No, the professional eater.
Oh.
But that works too. We'll call the candy cane sandwich the
so-
Kobayashi Maru.
This is an impossible decision. I have to Kobayashi Maru this shit. You have to choose one. No, I don't. I win.
Exactly. There are no win situations.
That's hilarious. One more. Let's go one more. Let's do one more.
Okay.
Last one. Actually, let's do two more because I want to do one serious and then one more funny one. So the serious one: would you rather be given $100 for Christmas to buy things for yourself, or given $1,000 before Christmas to buy gifts for other people?
Second one.
1,000 for other people.
Yeah, second
Yeah.
one.
I mean, that's a grand.
Yeah.
You can really improve somebody's life.
Yeah, we
True.
got the second one too.
True, and who knows? They might, throw something your way.
It seems like as I get older, it's harder to ask for things and easier to give.
Hmm.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, it's true. Now, would you rather have? Let's see, where to go? That's messed up. Would you rather have a nose? No, sorry, I did that one. Would you rather write a 5-paragraph essay about the meaning of Christmas, or solve a page of Christmas-themed math problems?
I'll take the math.
I'll take the 5 paragraphs.
Yeah, definitely 5 paragraphs for me too.
Not math fans, huh?
Not me. I'm not. I mean,
It isn't bad.
arithmetic. You do arithmetic. I'm happy.
I'd rather sit there and think creatively than sit there and just do math problems.
Well, one more. Fine, listen. This last one, I promise. Would you rather live in a giant gingerbread house for the rest of your life, and it slowly decays over time, and people eat on it, and it's a whole mess? Or would you rather ride on the Polar Express for the rest of your life and never be allowed to leave, and it just continually goes and goes and goes?
Doom Train from Final Fantasy. I'll go with that. I'll go with the Doom Train option.
The Doom Train. The Polar Express.
That's a tough one.
If you can never leave, that's Doom Train right there.
Go for it. The house, at least that situation ends eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, but probably the caveat is that you have to rebuild it and continue living in it.
Oh, if that's the case, then yeah, the train, because at least you can murder everybody, and it's the murder train, the flying murder train.
But then everyone comes back to life after they die.
Take you out.
Nice, infinite murders.
Yeah, see, that's the Doom Train, man.
Yeah, dude, I'm all Doom Train. Doom Train now.
Turn it into that circular train from Adventure Time, where you're just getting into a new car and looting everything.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, yeah, and you get so addicted to it, you can't leave.
Slaughtering elves and sharpening candy canes and boiling hot eggnog in people's faces.
But the sad part is, you're just so excited to get to the North Pole, and you never get there. You just never reach it. Yeah, you always pass it by.
And
now I have a justification.
It all just works out so perfect for you. It's a dream come true.
Yeah, and by the time you're murdering people or going crazy, it's probably been at least maybe a month.
Yeah, maybe in a couple of years if you're real patient and find something to do.
Maybe you'll become the captain of the train. Who knows? And then you get to do this to other people, and it'll be even more fun.
Endless cycle of Doom Train.
Exactly. That's what the season really means. That's the spirit of the Christmas season.
Yep. Doom Train.
Perfect. All right. Well, I think that about sums it up for this day. I would just like to thank everyone here, and why don't you guys do a little plug-in? Let's get some plug-in going. Who wants to throw some plugs down?
I'll go first. I gotta get going.
Go for it.
You guys can follow me at MattB_Sulos for Twitter. I'm the artist for Project R, and I'm also the artist for Dissolution 2030. As Scott said, for RAF, I'm going to be doing some concept art for the creatures. But other than that, I am the co-founder of Wikid, and
look out for some new projects.
For a bunch of stuff I'm going to be publishing. I'm even probably going to be putting out some sneak peeks for a project that I'm working on personally by myself for right now. Just redoing a lot of the art for it, so this way it fits more of my style now. But other than that, yeah, be on the lookout for a bunch of new comics and a bunch of new art from both myself and the Wikid team itself.
Hell yeah. Nice, man. Well, thanks again for joining us today.
Yep, yeah. I will see or talk to everyone later.
Later. Yep.
Pleasure as always.
Bye.
And Scott, where can people follow you on Twitter if they haven't?
Yeah, you can follow me at Kishkumen, KYSHKUMEN. I've got my new project coming out, Wrath. Really excited about it. I hope a lot of people enjoy it. And I haven't exactly locked down an artist yet, so if people are interested, they can still hit me up. And if something falls through, then I'll be looking again. So
yeah, hit him up or hit us up too, and we'll always pass it along to Scott as well. And thanks for being here, Scott. It was awesome having you on for your first episode, and we'll hope to hear more from you next time.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and it was nice meeting everyone.
Oh, pleasure.
And Cody, it's found you.
Oh man, it's the Patreon Cactus Coyote and the free black and white issue #1 on Tapas of Jack Irons. I don't have too much to offer people till hopefully next week. Then I can start plugging some digital #1. But for now, those two will work. You can get all the information you need about the Ironsverse and any of my projects through @cowboy_steel on Twitter. Cowboy_steel33 is my Facebook page if you guys are interested in that more than Twitter. And there's a lot coming down the line for Jack. If you can keep having our back, we'll get you quite a few fun comics down the line.
That's awesome, man. Well, thanks again. I've had so much fun talking with you guys today and playing some games. This was a great blast of a holiday special. So everyone out there, thank you for joining in with us, everyone who watched, and everyone have a great, happy, and wicked new year. We'll talk to you guys in the new year.
Yeah, take care, folks.